What's going on, everybody? John here with you. It's a Thursday, March 27, 2025. How's everybody doing out there today? I know Alec Nava is going to be joining me here in a moment. By the time I flip, they were already going through the anthem, so you might as well go ahead and take a few extra minutes here, go through the lineup and everything else that goes across the board. So for the visiting Tigers, as they will head to Dodger Stadium, managed by A.J. Hinch, it's Andy Ibanez. Third base, Gleyber Torres at second, Riley Greene in left. Spencer Torkelson is going to be the DH. Manuel Margot is in right field. Cole Keith at first. Javier Baez at short. Jake Rogers at catcher. Ryan Kreidler will be in center field. Let me get Alec Nava in here. And for the Los Angeles Dodgers, because of the series at the Tokyo Dome, they are already 2-0 because they got both of those games against the Cubs. They are managed by Dave Roberts. They won the World Series last year, 98-64. The Detroit Tigers were 86-76. At Shohei Ohtani at DH, Mookie Betts at short, Teoscar Hernandez in right, Freddie Freeman at first. Tommy Edman will bat fifth. He plays center field. Will Smith will do the catching duties, and then Max Muncy third, Miguel Rojas second, and Andy Pages will round out the order in left field. Alec, I really appreciate you joining me for this one. I know we kind of had this one circled on the calendar for a little bit. I've been marred with some extra duties. I know you've been covering the NCAA tournament, but why not? Let's cover some baseball here.
Why not indeed? Why not indeed? Opening day doesn't get any better than this. Glad to have you, John. Thanks for joining in, everybody. Look, and for an exciting day for what is supposed to be a busy day all around on sports. You got the Frozen Four tournament that just started. You got March Madness in the Sweet 16. And you have MLB opening day. A lot of team seasons have started. We also saw the return of Joe Buck in the MLB. Glad to have him back calling MLB games. And then you have this, with the Dodgers hoisting their banner, with Jack Flaherty part of the Tigers roster once again. You figured that he may be joining the Dodgers briefly before going back to his dugout. I would expect the same thing.
I would imagine the same thing again. I know I caught a little bit of the morning highlights at times there for the series at the Tokyo Dome for the Cubs and the Dodgers, but that was quite a sight. And I did see one of the Shohei Ohtani bats. So, of course, you knew, Alec, that he was going to go yard and make all of the crowd go absolutely crazy. But whatever it was with the shoulder last year that we saw in the World Series, it looks like Shohei Ohtani is going to be completely healthy now, and he's going to start to pitch this year. We'll see how much he actually does, but he'll be the DH today.
I understand that decision because for him being a DH, you got to have him back up to speed in order to get him back fully healthy as a pitcher. Right now, he's not there yet, but he may be soon.
So here's another thing that we can talk about for all the Dodgers moves. I think, Alec, this is another low-key, really good one. I wouldn't say low-key if it wasn't any of the roster other than the Dodgers. Blake Snell, I know he only started 20 games last year, but before that, when he was with the San Francisco Giants over his last 15, 16 starts, I mean, he was darn near unhittable. He's got a good four-seam curve changeup slider. I think Blake Snell is going to have a good outing today.
Two aces against one another. Of course, that's the ideal matchup that you want between Skubal and Snell. Both of them are lefties, and they have thrived over the points of their careers. Snell's story is rather different. He had a slow start heading in the first half of last season with the Giants, but in the second half, he did have a bounce back where he recorded that no-hitter for San Francisco. It was a short tenure, just 1 year. The expectation was that he would stay around a little longer, but that was not meant to be. He got a lucrative contract, and why wouldn't he? Because he's taking the best offer available. And the best offer that was put up on the free agency market, of course, the Dodgers would step in to give him that lucrative contract.
I know we're going to talk about Tarik Skubal in a second, but part of that point that you just mentioned alongside Jack Flaherty, who's going to be getting his World Series ring and then going to the other side of the Tigers, was they got Jack Flaherty at the deadline in exchange for Trey Sweeney and another prospect there in Detroit. Trey's not going to be playing today, but it was essentially a rental that went back to the Tigers. And then on the other end for the starter today, Tarik Skubal, the fourth reigning Cy Young with the season debut against the defending World Series champ. The last time was Jack McDowell, 94 for the White Sox against Toronto. But for Tarik Skubal, he won the pitching Triple Crown. is one of the very best that we have in the entire league. And honestly, I'll go through the Tigers schedule once we get a little bit of a break when we get to some of the coverage. But their schedule is hellacious in April, and they're really going to need Tarek Skubal to be on his best here from day one against the vaunted Dodgers lineup.
To have him be at his Cy Young form to begin in this season. That's what's going to be key for them because runs are going to be at a minimum. In a pitching tool like this one, you're not going to see a lot of runs scored. It's going to be a very low-scoring game. This type of game is going to offer when you have two high-caliber pitchers of Skubal and Snell's caliber.
So when you look at the lineup portion of Detroit, you will notice that there are some changes, and maybe not to some of the fans' surprise, maybe not as much as they would have wanted to as far as the moves in the offseason. Javier Baez is back. Again, he's still under contract tenure for a couple more years before that big number comes off the books. He played 80 games. He had just a 184 average. Jake Rogers will be on the bottom, and then Ryan Kreidler in center field. And I'm just going to give you the career numbers for the 27-year-old. This is 150 at-bats with a 147 average, 2 home runs, and 8 RBI. And you're asking, why is Ryan Kreidler in the lineup? Well, unfortunately for Tigers fans, Parker Meadows, who we saw a little bit of, Alec, who was a defensive maestro in center field, he's got some nerve damage and a throwing arm. And I don't think Parker Meadows is going to be back anytime soon. And that's unfortunate for the Tigers because if you remember a couple of years ago, they tried to get Austin Meadows, his older brother, in exchange for Isaac Paredes. He got injured, and now the younger brother, Parker, is hurt.
It's a bummer all around because you would need Meadows' services on the defensive side. His arm is not at 100%, so they're going to have him rest for at least 4 weeks at the minimum before he can come back. Not only that on the side of Kreidler and Meadows, but also no Matt Beerley because he's dealing with a shoulder injury. So he'll be out for at least this game, but he should be back soon. So what Beerling is a lesser deal, but Meadows, his presence will be missed a lot.
Yes, it will, because Tigers, again, most notably, remember that less than 1% chance they had of making the postseason. He had a grand slam in the 9th inning against the Padres, had a game-saving catch against the Mariners. He was all over it. And you look at the portion of this Tigers lineup, against Spencer Torkelson, I'm not saying last tour of duty for him because he's still got a long ways to go with the team, but they're going to have to decide if they want to pay him. They're going to want big years from Spencer Torkelson, a big year from Casey Mize on the mound. They signed Manuel Margot. He's going to play in right field today. Colt Keith is going to get first base duties, a position that he's never played before. That's where Spencer Torkelson was at. And then Gleyber Torres, I do want to mention this before we get into the Dodgers part of it, Alec. He got signed from the Yankees, which is a big bet. We know about that, but Gleyber Torres at second base, alongside new guys that played in different positions, he led the league in errors. So I'm not sure what the Tigers' infield is going to look like here in day one. I'm hoping for good things, but we might see a little bit of rust.
But we want to shake that rust off to get back on the track here in the beginning of the season. It's a new lineup. So there's going to be time taken for this lineup to be acclimated fully and integrated. Of course, you have the missing pieces in Meadows and Beerley, but you want to have their main guys to get acclimated and comfortable on this new season. That being Riley Greene, Kerry Carpenter, and Colt Keith being the main centerpieces. Spencer Torkelson, if you count him, but he's not at first base right now. He's at DH. They have Gleyber Torres on the second base side. How is he going to fare on this Tigers lineup? He was excellent as a leadoff hitter for the Yankees in his time spent there. How is he going to carry over to Detroit is anyone's guess.
There's going to be a lot to wonder. Again, a lot of fanfare there for Freddie Freeman. You're talking about some of the cancer stuff in the last year to the World Series MVP. And I mean this in the best way possible, Alec. When we watched it and covered throughout the World Series, Freddie Freeman was an absolute maniac at the plate. And then just gave you some of the greatest moments you ever seen, including Game 1 of the World Series when he ended up taking home MVP anyway, and the Dodgers won it all.
I mean, it was no question who was going to win World Series MVP. It was Freeman's MVP the entire way with the way that he played. By far and away, the best player on the field, no matter if it is on the Dodger Stadium or the Yankee Stadium, we see Fred Freeman, Freddie's father, getting interviewed by none other than Joe Davis, the Dodgers main broadcaster. That's a nice tribute to see.
Yeah, it really is. Again, I want to ask you on the other side because I wasn't as cued in, Alec. What was going on with Mookie Betts? I know he's going to be in the lineup today, but I don't think he could have made that series at the Tokyo Dome.
It appeared that he was under the weather
Okay.
for the past few days, but the stomach virus will prevent him from going to Tokyo, so he had to stay behind.
I got you. And I'm looking on the other side for the Dodgers lineup, Alec, and I see Ohtani, Betts, Hernandez, Freeman, and Edman, and then Will Smith and Max Muncy. I'm not saying that this is a team that's largely unchanged because you move on from Gavin Lux, James Outman's going to start in the minors, Kevin Kiermaier retired, but this really does look like the same team that did all that damage in the World Series. Is Kirk Gibson, former Dodger and former Tiger, is getting a standing ovation here at Dodger Stadium.
How eerily similar both home runs
Yes.
look like between Kirk Gibson's and Freddie Freeman's. Those are memorable and will be forever enshrined in Dodger lore.
So we got a lineup that looks unchanged here for the Dodgers. Essentially, they're already 2-0. They won both of those games against the Chicago Cubs. Dave Roberts got his extension. Team that was 98-64 last year, won the World Series. Alec, I'm going to say this honestly. I know that we're covering the Tigers and the Dodgers as Kirk Gibson throws out the first pitch to Freddie Freeman. That's quite a sight. But I'm going to say it now. I think the Dodgers, especially in the NL, I know you got teams like the Padres and Arizona that made some moves, but this Dodgers team still looks like a team that can repeat to me.
And we haven't seen a repeat in 25 years, but this could be the team that can break that curse. That the Dodgers can break the curse of no repeat champions and over 2 decades. And they can be very realistic that this happens. They saw that banner unveiling here over at the stand. And so I gotta wonder how everyone feels in Los Angeles. Not everyone in Los Angeles is a Dodger fan, but many, I mean, the majority of the city is a Dodgers fan. It's pretty ecstatic over here. This crowd of 56,000.
That trophy and that emblem was pretty nasty there that they just unveiled. I want to mention this might be small considering how good the Dodgers are, but let me just give you the pitching injuries. So Tony Gonsolin, Brusdar Graterol, Michael Grove, Eduardo Henriquez, Kyle Hurt, Clayton Kershaw, Michael Kopech, Evan Phillips, River Ryan, Emmett Sheehan, and Gavin Stone will all start the year injured. So I know some pieces, some bigger, some smaller, some bullpen, some starters, but Dodgers do have a little bit of injuries on the pitching staff to start the year.
I mean, this has been a trend over the last few years with the Dodgers having pitching injuries. They bared through it the last postseason, and they weathered the storm with all those injuries. They were down to a 3-man rotation at the starting pitching staff between Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Jack Flaherty, and Walker Buehler. Yamamoto was a de facto ace of that ragtag group, but now that it's relatively healthy, most of this pitching staff, he doesn't need to be the ace, but he can be one at any given day. That's how good this pitching staff is. Plus, you have Ohtani, who is just a few months away from getting back to pitching. That's how scary this pitching core is. And when it's at full health, watch out.
And Alec, and I know you were going to say this anyway, but you left it up for me, so I'll just try to tee this one out of the park. Roy Sasaki at some point is going to be making his debut, and he's supposed to be an absolute young stud.
He did get his MLB debut in the second game of the Tokyo series, and even though he had his bumps and bruises, he was otherwise outstanding in his MLB debut in Game 2 of the Tokyo series. Even though it was a relatively short outing, he's going to be a beast.
Yeah, and again, you'll see that as far as even Tarek Skubal and Blake Snell. I know they're going to need Skubal to go pretty long there for the Tigers, but in opening few weeks, as we get to the first few starts, when we're not going to see these pitchers start to round in until May, time like that. So the first few starts, you expect them to be shorter than usual. And again, we talk about it on the other side of the pond in between the Dodgers and the Angels as far as LA teams. I don't imagine the Angels season got off to such a great start when they lost 8-1 to the White Sox.
Oh my goodness. What is this? I mean, the White Sox, they did cut payroll after that historically bad season last year, but nobody imagined this happening to start off the year. An 8-1 loss to the White Sox. While the White Sox do have a better prospect pool, the Angels, The more that's said about them, it's just not a good sight.
Yeah, we'll have to see, Alec. Again, they brought in Jorge Soler, a couple other pieces to try to bolt everything. You got Mike Trout now in right field. I know Trout's got a lot of money. We talk about him all the time. When you have to talk about the Angels, that one goes hand in hand. We'll see the way it goes. But if the White Sox get on a run against the Angels, it could be a long season. I know we still got another 161 more of those for Anaheim, but that is not a good start.
No, it's not. And then you have the Astros who say, we're still here, we never left. They begin with a 3-1 win over the Mets. The Guardians get a 7-4 win over the Royals in 10. The Giants 6-4 over the Reds. You have the Red Sox make a statement on the Rangers. We are here.
Yeah, and the Rangers, they want to have a bounce back. Again, you pick up on the other side for the Red Sox, Alex Bregman. That's going to be a big one for them. I know he's getting older, but at least for now in this season, you would expect big things for him. And then Christian Walker as a new member of the Astros. Some big pieces going to new places.
Yeah, the Astros couldn't land he could not land Nolan Arenado because of Arenado's no trade clause. So he blocked the trade there. The backup plan being Walker. So the third-base questions arise nonetheless because who is going to start over at third base? They have Isaac Paredes at that spot. Well, not too bad.
So, Alec, you can lead off and close if you want, or I can take the first, whatever you want to do. Let's get into this thing.
All right, I guess I'm going to lead off then. So as we start things out, first pitch for Blake Snell's Dodger debut, and Andy Ibanez bats it into the direction of Max Muncy, who took it over towards his chest.
So right at a line drive there, no problem for Muncy. Again, Alec probably be 5 or 6 seconds ahead of me as we're watching this one on ESPN. That's where we are today. Again, I'll mention this when we get to the next part of the inning as far as the Tigers' schedule, but I think it would behoove them, Alec, to try to score as many runs early as they can. Again, we can say that about both of these teams against Snell and Tarek Skubal, as Gleyber Torres going to get set in his first at-bat in a new uniform.
Went from the Bronx over to Motown. So now in his first at-bat as a Tiger, he swings up high, missed it. Fastball that time for Snell. Not too bad.
95 with a little bit of heat up top.
He does bring on the heat wherever he goes. Tampa, that's back-to-back times that Torres swung and missed. And, of course, Snell is bringing on the heat between Tampa, San Diego, San Francisco, and now the City of Angels. The 0-2 now. And that is ruled a ball.
Man, that looked like a perfect pitch for a strikeout, but Gleyber Torres is still alive here at 1-2.
That was a 50-50 ball, all things considered. We'll see if this one is delivered. That wasn't even a 50-50 ball. That was low. It's 2-2.
So a little bit of curveball there for Snell. Again, he features everything in the bag of tricks as you sit at a 2-2 count.
He does bring the arsenal of everything, no matter where it is. And Torres, he fouls this one left, so he saves himself at the plate.
Able to stay a little tied up there, but again, four-seam curve change slider to 96 to 81 in terms of the velocity. The changeup is more bottom right, slider's more bottom left, and the curve he will throw anywhere for a strike.
Los Angeles, California, second most populated city in the United States, right behind New York City. This is where Snell is at right now at Dodger Stadium. And, a slip up from Torres, and that's going to be an easy out here, so it's 2 up and 2 away.
And he's trying to get a piece of that breaking ball, and he swung himself into the mound as he goes back to the dugout, so hopefully Gleyber Torres is okay.
Yeah, hopefully there's nothing wrong there. He did take a chance at that ball, and he did slip up and fall down, and that really caught the umpire by surprise at home. He didn't expect Torres to slip up. This ball wide to the right for Riley Greene, who was one of the top batters on the Tigers last year. Begins with a 1-0 count.
Yes, he is, Alec, a first-time All-Star, 24 home runs and 74 RBI.
Swinging a miss, 262 batting average for Riley Greene. You would imagine that the Tigers would build on last year to have higher expectations for this year. We don't know what the Guardians are about because of all the sell-offs and buy-ins. ball 2, a slider went downstairs.
Yeah, I think Alec at this point, I know we're just beginning the season, a lot of opening day for a lot of other teams, but it looks to be a 4-team race in the AL Central.
The Twins are getting fully healthy now, and Greene, he fouls this one on a sky ball behind, 2-2.
And because of that, some fans are wondering why the Tigers didn't make a whole bunch of moves. They're still electing to cut payroll, waiting for Javier Baez to exit.
As he wanted the contract to run out, Greene, fly ball to left field is fouled, so it remains 2-2. Snell have one more chance to put Greene away. He's the only pitcher in the MLB with a 40% whip rate on 3 different pitches: a curveball, changeup, and slider, all at least 45%. Oh, a low drive, and Greene's going to try to run for it, but he's put away. And 1-2, Greene out.
That was a great stat line that you just read, and across for ESPN, and perfect timing, too, because he went fishing on that curveball. Not even close.
Yeah, that wasn't even close to being swung at. In fact, my swing on a bottom was going downstairs anyway, and you could have a better chance of staying put and not even pushing. But I think that pitch may have caught on Greene by surprise, and he went fishing on that ball. Not even close at all.
So a little bit of an auspicious start for the Tigers. When you think about it, I don't have to say much, Alec, here, but it's Ohtani, Betts, and Hernandez here for Tarek Skubal. And I know how good Tarek Skubal is, but that's going to make life awfully difficult.
Whereas Tarek Skubal can make life very hard for people at the plate. It's going to be that much of a cannon for Skubal to fire at. As we get Ian on board here, how are you doing?
The Royals lost in completely embarrassing fashion. They had. It is becoming quite obvious that Hunter Renfroe might be past his expiration date because that man is slow in the outfield. They had a good-looking start to the 8th inning, and then they tried a contact play that turned into a vaudeville routine. Just falling all over themselves and ended up in a double play and eventually nothing. Look, it's one game, but when you see the same problem year after year after year, for instance, the bullpen, outside of 3 guys, the bullpen is terrible. They will give up runs, which means the lead has to be. The lead can't even be 1 or 2. It has to be by 3 or 4 for you to be safe. And it's one game. That's what I keep telling myself. It is one game. But please figure out right field, Royals. Because Hunter Renfroe is not the answer.
Ooh, first pitch. And Shohei Ohtani flashed a fireball right into the direction of Colt Keith, who puts him away at first base.
Are you kidding me already? The first pitch for Ohtani is at 110-mile-an-hour exit velocity, and Colt Keith gets his first play as he steps on the bag. My goodness.
That's almost impossible to stop this going right by you, but it was a bouncer right towards the direction of Keith. Does step on first base and put him away. Betts, who just fully recovered from a stomach virus, will just let this one fly. It's 1-0 to count.
Gotta tell you, Alec, and I know it's easy to say, Mookie Lynn Betts, one of my favorite players in all of baseball. I know that there's a lot of fanfare around Shohei Ohtani, and per usual, but Mookie Betts is still an MVP, a real deal type player.
Yeah, it's a pick your poison, and Betts fouls one to left. That was absolutely blasted. And remember, from game 1, you want one MVP to face another MVP.
Yes.
We did mention back then. And which one do you want to face? It's pick your poison. 2-1 to Betts. Upstairs on a changeup, and this is a 3-1 count.
And I know it's only partial in the part of it from the pickup for Tommy Edman, but I mean, he won MVP as far as the CS as well.
Sky ball to left field. Mookie Betts will see this one get caught at that left field side, and it's 2 up and 2 away.
And then Teoscar Hernandez re-signs with the Dodgers as well. I thought maybe they might lose him in the offseason, but he likes the friendly confines of Los Angeles.
He took a one-year deal to bet on himself to see how his production would go, and his production skyrocketed as a result of playing with the Dodgers. Well, he stayed here because he likes playing here with the Dodgers. Ball is upstairs on a four-seam fastball, 98 for Scooble. This kid is amazing.
Yeah, and you said it, Alec. I'm interested to see how the velocity is going to affect Scooble here in just day one of this MLB season. Again, another 161 more of these. But Tarek Scooble, you would think, around 30-something plus starts. He's got everything and the kitchen sink to throw.
1-1 to Teoscar, and this is a low bouncer. It's going to be picked up, and he's going to be put away. So 1-2, 3 and out, just as we expected. Runs are going to be earned, not given here. No hits at all.
And I like how on that one, Tarek Scooble stepped on the bag without the ball and then just waited for Colt Keith to give him a tap.
Yeah, basically, he's so there.
Well, good work for these pitchers here. Ian, you feel free to give us your thoughts. I know I'll go across the NHL scoreboard. Honestly, I feel a bit rusty because it's been a while since I covered any of that. Any longing developments, gentlemen? Again, I know we followed between the St. Louis Blues last time, Ian. They've had a favorable schedule down the stretch, but again, I don't want to put it in that vein. They've just been dominating and winning games, and now they get a chance to play the Preds again.
What I want to see is what they've been giving teams so far. Or just winning, because close wins are great too. But when you're going up against the top team, like for instance, the win against Vancouver in overtime, they should have won in regulation, but they got the second point. So I'm okay with that. Blasting the Montreal Canadiens 6-1. That is what I want to see out of them. And for the Preds, tonight, just win. Just win and hope that Alex Ovechkin gets a hat trick against the Minnesota Wild, tie it up with them, and then leapfrog them to take the first wild card spot. St. Louis lost it. Do your jobs tonight.
You want to hear stats? The Blues are 13-2-2 since the Four Nations break.
Yeah.
That's how amazing they've been ever since.
It's crazy. And this is after losing Colton Parayko, by the way. Well, not after, but close enough.
No, and you said it all, Ian. And I know we talked about that a little bit. Alec and I joined in Alec as far as Dallas and Colorado. Unfortunately, I can't be with you gentlemen over the next couple weekends because I'm on Sharks finals duty against the Muskegon Voyagers, making the travel up north in about a couple more days. So thankfully, I get this one more assignment here with you gentlemen before I have to ship off. As the Tigers, again, 55-63 through August 10th and then 33-10 down the stretch. They'd be able to go ahead and get in the postseason when they had a 0.9% chance as the four-seam is inside of Spencer Torkelson.
And Torkelson, and once you get back onto his opportunities he gets, you believe he can be due for bounce back.
You need it again, Alec, because he's the number one overall pick in 2020. Again, you think about picks like that. Mickey Moniak was one of those for the Angels. He just got picked up on a one-year deal from the Colorado Rockies because he was at like 160. Spencer Torkelson got a little more power than that, and he's got a better average, but he does have some swing and miss in his game as it sits at 2-1, pitch clock down to 8. As Snell delivers.
As a Detroit fan, is this Torque's last chance?
That's what I'm wondering, Ian, but I'm only saying that because, again, Casey Mize and Torkelson haven't hit their part of contract status yet where they got to make a lot of money. They haven't had their time served, so I think Torkelson's going to get a full season. They're going to say he didn't swing, so good start for Torque here. He draws the walk.
First base runner of this game, of course, it's earned, not given when you have two aces on the mound and what is going to be expected as a pitching duel. And of course, you have the first base runner as Torkelson has good hand-eye towards each one of those pitches and sees that each one of those is outside, decides not to swing at them, and of course that advances him to first base.
An absolute dot in the bottom right part of the zone for Manuel Margot. Last season with Minnesota wasn't all that bad. 238, 4 home runs, 31 RBI. Again, he wasn't expected to be playing here with the Tigers, but they had to sign because of the Parker Meadows injury, as he offers it a curveball nowhere near and makes it 0-2.
Injury insurance is always a good thing for a team that is dealing with injuries at the start of the year. With Manuel Margot on the plate, he's going to provide some form of substitute or injury insurance to a team that's missing Matt Veerley for tonight.
Inside out jam shot. This is going to fall in front of the Dodgers defense, and Spencer Torkelson's going to be able to go to third. So Manuel Margot, he got all jammed up, but he got a single out of it.
That sends Torkelson onto third on a long run, but a good contact by Margot. We talked about how the Tigers are going to do without Parker Meadows and Matt Veerley. Well, here's the answer on the first contact. If Margot going towards the right field line on this line drive, Torkelson dives indicates that this throw was going towards third base, but it was cut off just before that.
I don't want to be hyperbolic here as part of a Tigers fan. I'll try to be neutral as I can in the broadcast, but this is a big at-bat here for Colt Keith early. Again, he's one of the Tigers' young studs as far as future prospects and batting. So see what he can do, because you got Javier Baez, Jake Rogers, and Ryan Kreidler behind you. That is not a lot of protection. So we'll see if Colt Keith can come through. It's 0-1.
Yeah, after Colt Keith, it's fair to wonder how much protection is there going to be for the Tigers, because of those injuries for Meadows and Veerley are going to loom large at the bottom of the order. It's not ideal that you have Keith batting sixth this early in the season.
No, because again, Jace Young, who was one of those guys that we saw last year, he was batting 140 in spring training this year, and the only reason why he's not up is because he just had a miserable spring training, got sent down to Toledo. This one way outside on a curveball, make it 1-2.
Learning curves are normal in baseball. When you hit 140 in spring training, that means normally that you need to take more time as a young prospect. Take that time to develop in the AAA league, and then once you're ready, you're going to get your number called up.
1-2 pitch. This is a curveball, swinging bunt, and the Tigers, it's bad base running there for Torkelson. He's going to get tagged out.
Oh, Torkelson was trapped in a rock and a hard place. Nowhere for him to run. As soon as that ball was placed towards the home plate side, he had nowhere to go. He thought about going home, but Will Smith was there to pick that up as it was right there in front of him. Absolutely nowhere for him to go. His home plate was locked, closed, and padlocked all at the same time.
Yeah, I don't want to be too critical, gentlemen, here. Again, it's just night one. A lot of the stuff that Ian had mentioned alongside with his team, but we talk about Torkelson, maybe his chances get minimized. AJ Hinch is not going to like that, considering where they are, because you had runners in first and third. Essentially, what I'm saying, Alec, is you have to at least get one of these runs home.
At the very least. Otherwise, you'd be looking at a situation where you're not sure where to go.
Javier Baez takes a grand cut. Again, we know about the strikeouts in his game. All those numbers when he won a World Series with the Chicago Cubs. Never a high batting average. He did have a lethal glove. Now he doesn't bring the glove as much anymore. This is still a guy that has track record previous, but not with the Tigers. This is a jam shot. They're only going to be able to get the out at first. That would have been enough to score a run if Spencer Torkelson didn't get tagged out, but it's second and third now with 2 outs, and that's going to leave it up to Jake Rogers.
Well, at least he had the right idea to at least sacrifice himself to move the runners from first and second to second and third. Well, Baez, he wanted to get that one for at least one more run to get at least 4, but nothing more came out of that. Baez, in essence, he sacrificed himself to move the runners.
See what Jake Rogers can do here, and they're going to check swing on Jake. He did not offer. It's 1-0 on a curveball.
There was a chance for a double play, but a little fake out for the runner headed to third base is to avoid that double play, and it's only such a single play.
So waiting on the 1-0 is Jake. Fastball up top, does not offer, make it 2-0. Again, Ryan Kreidler profiled that alongside Alec before he jumped on the air. Just 150 at-bats for the 27-year-old. was only batting 147, so that 7, 8, 9 that we mentioned is going to need a lot of help. That's why you didn't want to have any of these runners stranded. Blake Snell's probably got a good chance to get out of this. As Jake Rogers, that's a beautiful snap on a curve, make it 2-1.
Kyle Rogers looking at that curveball, but more likely than not, when throwing a curveball, you're more likely to get fooled on the pitch because you think it's going towards the outside. No, it's going to curve towards the inside, and you get a strike against you.
So pitch number 31, Snell in great shape. Rogers skies this one. It's at the warning track and caught. That's a shame it wasn't an out earlier. The Tigers would have got a sacrifice, but as it is, Snell strands everybody, and we're still scoreless.
That was a low catch on the warning tracks at the left field side. Andy Ibanez looked at that perfectly, and he just does a backhand to get that one, grab it, and put away everyone on the Tigers. Still scoreless.
Yeah, not to draw too many parallels to the Royals, but that was the problem that John Benigno was having. He hit the ball. It looked great. It was going. And then Stephen Kwan got all let up on the warning track. It just needed a touch more to get over the wall. Just not enough there.
Yeah, sometimes that happens early in the year, and I would have to say a couple of bats before that are the reason why the Tigers didn't score their run that they were supposed to get. So we'll see what happens in bottom 2. My question is, how long is Tarek Skubal going to be able to keep up this scoreless stance? I know he's more so than capable, but especially early in the year, I think you can be due for slip-ups, and that would be easy to say because it's Freddie Freeman, Tommy Edman, and Will Smith 4, 5, and 6 next. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous.
It is. That's a stacked lineup for the Dodgers. It's not really fair to when you look at all the lineups that they can put up. There's talent all around it, no matter where you look at it. And the middle of the order, I mean, when you look at Tommy Edman, he's just coming off NLCS MVP. Yeah. Given his outstanding performance, he's at the bottom of the order, and he can slot anywhere in this lineup. He's the super utility man that not a lot of people give enough praise to.
I'm glad that you said that, honestly, Alec, because I think Tommy Edman, from what we saw, he looked like one of the very best players in Major League Baseball. He had that with Ohtani if he was healthy, but again, he ended up winning the World Series. Had a little bit of a shoulder issue, but you had Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez going crazy. I mean, everything worked out. I will say this on the other side for the Yankees. It might be a blessing that they did not sign Juan Soto so they could go ahead and fill other pieces of their roster.
The pieces that are vital and important to them if you want to fill in the other holes under the lineup. No Garrett Cole, no for the season. Max Fried get back to on there.
Here is a ball toward left center field, and Riley Greene on the first pitch for Freddie Freeman. Hit it very hard, but it was a warning track ball against Tarek Skubal. Again, one pitch out against Ohtani, one pitch out against Freddie.
Right idea, but there's a common saying: you live by the long ball. It's the first thing you'll die by it too. At times, that is true. Other times, that may be debunked by living by the long ball. Freddie launched the long ball, but it did not come to fruition that time around.
So Tarek Skubal already 4 outs on 10 pitches. Again, Blake Snell, his pitch count was pretty good at 32, but Tarek Skubal trying to be ultra economical, and that would serve him well as 98 will split the plate. So again, nothing wrong with the velocity here for Tommy Edman. Again, NLCS MVP, as we talked about, hit 328 in the postseason as a changeup dive bombs in the dirt.
Skubal has a large arsenal of pitches that he could use to fool out each one of the batters that he faces.
Yes, he does. Tommy Edman gives this a big swing, and the Dodgers score the first run of the year at Dodger Stadium on a home run from Tommy Edman to left field.
Almost at the same point we launched those home runs against the Mets in Game 6. And he's picking up where he left off. This super utility man doing business here at Dodger Stadium. 108.6 exit velocity, 21-degree launch angle, 401 feet the distance projected at left field. And Riley Greene ran out of room to run on the left field warning tracks.
if you made the bet that Tommy Edman would have the first Dodgers home run of the year, congratulations! You just cashed out big money because I think he might have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 on the list for the first home run of the year.
And that's crazy, Ian. And again, I'm saying this in the right way. The Dodgers lineup's so stacked. I mean, you look at any other team you throw Tommy Edman on, it could be 1 or 2, but not on the Dodgers.
He can fit anywhere on this lineup. That's how dangerous this Dodger lineup is. Because at the Cardinals, he was very highly coveted as their super utility man.
So it was a 1-pitch out on Will Smith, but the damage has been done as it's left now alongside Max Muncy. He's still got 7, 8, 9. You got Muncy, Rojas, and Pages. You throw that in between the Tigers lineup, you might see them bat middle of the order. I'm not even kidding you. And Max Muncy with a big swing, but this will drive Margot to the wall. So Tarek Skubal throws about 6 pitches. He gives up 1 run. He's only at 17, but it's 1-0 Dodgers as we go to the 3rd inning.
Great 17 pitches, and even though it's 1-0 Dodgers, the fact that Skubal's thrown 17 pitches means that he's going in nicely as the mound so far. Despite the home run that he gave up, he's been going good so far in this game. He's looking like the pitching Triple Crown winner that he was last year throughout.
Yeah, and I think he has to be that way, Alec. And we talk about it in the opening portions of the season that pitchers, you're only probably going to go 6 innings, and then you go to the bullpen. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out. I think Tarek Skubal, if he can keep economical as he is, he's probably got to at least go 7 because this is the Dodgers lineup. Again, we talk about the bottom of the order here for the Tigers. I don't want to beat that one to the ground, but there's going to be a limited number of runs scored, so Tarek Skubal's going to have his A game early.
He did have his A game in Game 1 against the Astros in the AL wild card. Who would have thought that the Tigers would come out of that series in a sweep? Well, I know that not a lot of people expected that, but the Tigers are known for a lot of chaos last season. But against the Dodgers, I know it's a different giant. But the Tigers, they can manage to do magical things at times. A lot of times last season, they've been on lots of magic. Of course, they relied on that to cause a lot of chaos on that 33-13 run to close out the season. And then they came in with a lot of momentum against the Astros, which paid dividends with their pitching, and with their pitching actually being at an advantage. Game 2, bullpen game, that worked against the high-powered bats of Altuve, Jordan, and Bregman.
I want to mention this really quick before you take the play-by-play in the 3rd. So for the Tigers, this is how they open the year through April. I'll give you the big highlights. So the Dodgers, you got at Seattle at T-Mobile, who's got a really good pitching staff. You got the Yankees at home, Minnesota, Milwaukee, Kansas City, San Diego, and Baltimore, and then they close out April with Houston. It really doesn't get that much more difficult for the Tigers here, so if they can be around 500 through the month of April, I would think good things for them this year.
That's where I would put them as well. You got Teoscar Hernandez, who gets the mic from the MLB on ESPN and cast. As the MLB on ESPN is on its farewell tour this year, the contract has not been renewed. Between the toss and here is a swing and a drive to left field down. And right in front of that, it is Andy Ibanez to throw this to second. It gets bobbled, but there's a runner at first base for the Tigers.
They'll take it for Ryan Kreidler. Again, the 27-year-old does not have a lot of major league experience, but hopefully Colt Keith, Javier Baez, Spencer Torkelson, Jake Rogers can learn by example because Kreidler is getting his opportunity here in his first at bat of the year. He stepped up.
In the absence of Beerling and Meadows, you need the next man up, and how do you fill in? We're back at the top of the order of Andy Ibanez leading off. And Ibanez, wow, that was inside. They called a strike, but it really should have been a ball.
That's a tough call against Andy Ibanez. Again, Ibanez at the top of the order now because he absolutely eats up lefties. We'll see what he can do.
He had the postseason of his life in that series against the Astros and carried on momentum over to the Cleveland series. Ibanez, little bouncer. This will not be a double play, and Ibanez will be out at first. That moves Kreidler to second.
I will say this, Alec. Early, a couple of these little jam shots, just enough to not force the double play for the Tigers. Tigers probably already could have hit 2 of these already.
At the very least, some nice shoes that Teoscar has. You got a blue with a red shade at the front, the blue at the back. Nice to see some multicolored shoes around here during game day.
Yeah, the shoe in the sock game there for Teoscar Hernandez alongside the cleat looks pretty much 10 out of 10 to me.
Of course it is. I would agree with you there. So, ball one, this went downstairs for Gleyber Torres in his second at-bat as a Tiger. Departed from the Bronx, arrived at Motown, signing his new contract with the Tigers. And the second one is a swing and a miss at bottom right side on the changeup.
I don't know if we're going to get it now in between the start of the year on the road to the Dodgers or Seattle, but I really want to see a Gleyber bomb.
A long ball to say towards right field, left field, center field. It's your call. And this is downstairs. Another curveball.
Just give a good at-bat here. Try to get something going with Ryan Kreidler at second. You couldn't score it in the first. Try to get it done now in the second. They're showing Blake Snell and the Dodgers. Everybody having a good time and alongside the Tokyo Dome. I got to imagine that's a once-in-a-lifetime trip.
Oh, yeah. I would love to go to Tokyo. Did you watch an MLB game over there? Change up 88, and Blake Snell is seeing his pitches going downstairs. So, good time for everyone. Well, right now, not so much for Snell. He's got to find that groove.
See if Gleyber Torres lets one go or takes a big swing with count leverage. It's 3-1.
Now for the third, 3-1 count. Torres, big drive to right field. However, Teoscar has the mic and tagging along, moving to third, is Kreidler. So he goes to third with 2 outs.
I gotta imagine 100% of the time when ESPN does the interviews with the players, that immediately that's the one that gets the ball and makes the play. Good work for Teoscar.
There's sometimes in which you have an interview over the preseason or during the course of the season in any league. Say you get an interview here, something happens in the background, a play is being made. Usually there's a score. Who knows here? It's happened several times in the preseason of the NFL, but in the MLB, you've got Teoscar making a play. No swing from Riley Greene. It's 1-0 as it went outside the backbone.
Again, Riley Greene, Spencer Torkelson, the former Mud Hens, right in the middle of this order. It's 2 outs with a runner on third. See if the Tigers can cash in.
40 pitches into Snell's day. You can imagine that he'll be lasting until almost the 6th inning. Big swing, and Riley Greene's going to pop this one up towards the shallow left field side, and it's out. And Teoscar heads towards the dugout, ready to take the mic off. It's still a 1-0 Dodger lead despite the Tigers getting 2 hits.
Well, it seems like. Go ahead, Ian.
So, okay, by all accounts, I should be rooting for the Dodgers today because we are in the same division. But I'm going to extend my hand, and John, if you wish to do the hand clasp from Predator, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you wish to do that, where either one of us, both of us, or neither of us makes it, I extend my hand to you. Yeah.
You know what? I hope one of us wins today, and I know exactly what you're saying as far as in terms of division. I won't worry about it so much early because I do think the Kansas City Royals are going to be fine. And I don't want to say this unbegrudgingly against my own team, but Alec and I already profiled them. Between Vierling and Meadows, those are not small losses. And they didn't do a lot to add in the offseason. And I'm wondering, in between a 4-team race, because I still think Alec and Ian, I'm not going to be mean when I say this, I still think Cleveland probably has the slight edge because of guys like J. Ram and the pitching staff and all that too. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. And maybe I shouldn't slam dunk all over the White Sox because they slam dunked all over the Angels today.
Well, the White Sox are either first or second in the division right now.
So that win over the Angels is anyone's guess as to where they are in the division. But who imagined this from the White Sox winning in a blowout win over the Angels?
So we'll see, Alec and Ian. Again, I know exactly what you're going for, but I do think the Kansas City Royals will be there in 2025, maybe as a wild card again. I don't see that changing too much because when you got somebody like Bobby Witt, you're going to get Vinny Pasquantino back there in the lineup. I mean, they're pretty dangerous still, and I like that squad.
Oh yeah, that squad can do a lot of damage when at their full disposal and when they're at their full health. Vinny Pasquantino playing at the first base side back. That's going to do a lot of. That's going to work a lot of wonders. As we're back here at Los Angeles, here's Scooble delivering nice curve at the top left. It is 1-0. 0-1 the count I meant.
My goodness, no worry about the placement here for Tarek School.
Ground ball to third. Rojas is going to be tossed out. He switched numbers out of deference to Roki Sasaki, going from 11 to 72.
So I know it's just one run, as Alec mentioned, but it's 7 outs for Tarek Skubal. He's thrown just 19 pitches.
And while the Tigers are still down by 1, Scooble is having himself a day so far. We're not even at the third mark of this game. No swing from Pages. He'll take it upstairs on the fastball to make it 1-0 on his first at-bat.
So I know I wondered a little bit for Pages as he swings and misses there, make it 1-1. As far as, like why he wasn't even played in the postseason a lot, but 116 games, he had 248, 23 years old. He's got 46 RBI, 13 home runs. He's got some good numbers.
They check the swing, and they say he just reached across to make it a 1-2 count. He does have some solid numbers. He was their top rookie last year. You expect he'll improve on his sophomore season and avoid that dreaded sophomore slump. And Scooble, this is a bouncer towards second. Torres will put away Pages, 2 up and 2 away.
A little bit of a jam shot there as Shohei Ohtani will go through the order the first time. The DH will get set to lead off. Try to get this done again at 310 last year in a mix of 54 home runs. He had almost, 60 stolen bases, Alec, and 130 RBI. I mean, they did a unicorn.
The inaugural member of the 50-50 club. He takes strike 1, but it's rare to go for a 40-40 season, even rarer for a 50-50 season. And the impressive part is that he was recovering from Tommy John because of him not being able to pitch. Oh, that took a wild bounce. Thankfully for the Tigers, nobody's on base.
I mean, for Ohtani, we can have the conversation. I know we never got to see Babe Ruth, but we can have the conversation with the greatest baseball player ever.
And 134 runs, 497 hits. And each one of those, they said with the Dodgers, each one of those stats were all career highs on his end. 1-1 pitch from Scooble. Way upstairs, 99 on the fastball to make it 2-1.
A little bit of a head fake for Ohtani as the 99 brushed him back. And again, anytime Ohtani's at the plate, they get your phones out.
Of course, he is a magical unicorn. Ohtani. Oh, that's got to be a nice foul ball towards the left side. Almost went over the fence. Oh, it's 2-2 then.
It's hard to believe for me as I look at this that Shohei Ohtani's already 30 years old.
It's hard to imagine this. And with the contract he's got owed at deferred money, for the Dodgers, there's sacrificing long-term future for the short-term future and the now. Ohtani just gets by Torres, and he reaches first base.
I'm not going to blame Gleyber Torres there. If it's the second one, this time it was a single, but the second ball hit for Ohtani. It was at 109 miles an hour as that got sandblasted through the second base infield.
Not a lot of people can end up catching that or making a dive to stop that ball and make the play to get to first. When you see Ohtani every that ball on a fast grounder, chances are he's going to reach first, and that's going to slide by the glove. Here's Mookie, first pitch. Oh, that's downstairs. Scooble went for the change up there. It is 1-0.
My question, Alec, and I know you're going through the play-by-play, but Ohtani's not the biggest guy in the world. How does he generate such power?
That's what I want to wonder as well. Here's the 1-0, and Mookie fouls back to even up the count of 1.
Because when you look at somebody like Aaron Judge and you see all 6'8" of him like 260, 70 pounds, you totally understand that. But Ohtani's got such a special swing. I just don't know how he does it.
Top 2 in extra base hits and steals in a season last year. First time since the say hey kid. This one takes a wild bounce. Nobody's going to get it. It's going to reach the outfield. Oh, my goodness. We have runners on the corners after a wild bounce off the mound.
This one bounces off a school, and I'm not going to throw Gleyber Torres under the bus here, but I think Alec's going to get my point. Gleyber Torres looked like he was swimming in quicksand. He had no idea what was happening with the ball, and he just didn't look all that confident. Mookie Betts going to be able to sit at first. I know it took a bounce, but that didn't look like competent infielding.
No, that did not. Torres, whose mind was going up for the middle. Nobody take the bounce up the center of the mound, so he has to change the bouncing direction. The Dodgers now in scoring position. Scooble's got to get this next one. He's up against Teoscar Hernandez, but there's no guarantee up against this high-powered Dodger batting order. It's the Birdman on the order, and Teoscar went after that when he went golfing.
And Alex said it right. It's not like you can walk Teoscar Hernandez because you got Freddie Freeman then with the bases loaded. Scooble's got to come through in a leverage situation.
Just pick your poison here, no matter where you look at this. You either face Teoscar or you face Freddie. And Teoscar went for another one. It's 0-2.
98 miles an hour. Well, how do you do there from Tarek Skubal? He's out in front 0-2. We'll see if he gets him reaching on a curveball. Try to get Teoscar going outside the zone.
Orange cleats. Not to mention about the Bengal tiger that's missing from the logo. I want to bring that Bengal tiger back onto the Tigers logo, not going to lie. The 0-2 on the way. And Teoscar struck out swinging. Went for the changeup. He's going to sit down. Dodgers still lead 1-0. Torque, Marco, and Keith up next.
So it wasn't the curveball that I thought it was, but he still got him reaching a little bit. I'm glad you mentioned that alongside the Bengal Tiger because I was wondering what was going on as far as Comerica Park. And forgive myself for saying this because I have to realize it again. I was born in 87. Comerica Park was made in 2000. Comerica Park's already 25 years old, if you can believe that. And supposedly the Tiger needed some decommissioning to fix that up, so it's just a big Comerica sign. I'm going to miss that big thing in center field.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that too. And I just got into new baseball just 2 years ago. So to see the big Tiger up at Comerica Park being taken down does make me kind of sad. That Bengal Tiger on the Tigers logo, I'm wondering where that's going to be at because the logo with the Bengal Tiger on the Old English D is a classic.
I'll say this honestly, if there is any sort of estate sale or an auction, I'm going to buy the big Tiger, I'm going to throw it in my room, and I'm going to put it next to the 2005 All-Star pennant that I have.
That's a nice gesture. In the meantime, I'm going to the Frozen 430. Who had Boston University winning 8-3 over Ohio State? Ohio State impressed early, but BU went on to score 6 unanswered goals to close out the game, including a beauty from Cole Eiserman.
Man, oh man, and Cole Eiserman was able to do some damage in the WJCs, and I'm glad that you mentioned that too, Alec, because I thought about it in the Big Ten. I didn't expect Ohio State to be as good as they are this year in battling alongside Michigan State and the like, but it sounds like they got beaten down pretty good.
Yeah, 1 goal, 3 assists for Cole Hudson, one of the younger brothers of Blake Hudson, who's in the Calder Trophy running. But Blake's got to be happy that Cole is showing out on defense for Terriers.
Is there any, I know we can't project it, Alec, but if there's any chance that Montreal could move up and get both Lane and Cole, they need to do it.
Perhaps. And who had Western Michigan going to overtime against Minnesota State on day 1 of the tournament? It's tied 1-1 there in overtime.
I'll be rooting for the Broncos there a little bit selfishly. There's a lot of good teams in the Michigan side. And again, I didn't expect Western to be as good as they've been all year. Western at one point was ranked number 2 in the nation.
That ball went downstairs with the 4th inning, but that's a shocker that we're going to overtime between Western Michigan and Minnesota State.
So as we get set to go here, again, Spencer Torkelson in his first at-bat against Blake Snell, he drew the walk, but it was the base running error as he got tagged out from going from third to home that cost the Tigers a run. And right now that's where we are, still sitting with a run as Tommy Edmonds got the solo shot. Things got a little bit crazy in the infield alongside with Tarek Skubal, but he was able to get out of the jam and punch out Teoscar as Torkelson now waits on a 2-1. That's a gorgeous curveball. Make it 2-2.
Blake Snell just have that complete arsenal with him wherever he's gone. Tampa, San Diego, San Francisco. Now in his fourth destination in the MLB. He wants to carry it over to be the ace of this Dodgers rotation until Ohtani gets back to pitching.
Absolutely. Pitch number 46. Fastball outside the zone. So couple extended at-bats here. Alec for Torkelson. He's seen 13 pitches now in between two at-bats.
And hopefully if he gets on base, the results will be different this time around if he reaches.
Another walk for Spencer. So indeed, Tigers fans will take that. Tigers, it's not like they haven't had some traffic on the base paths. We'll see what they can do with it.
And they were so close to reaching home plate, if not for that base running error from Torkelson. When you have the ball that's hit its home but doesn't move at home plate, the more likely you are to stay at third is where you're supposed to be at. You should stay at third if the ball doesn't move from home plate after the bat.
Man, Manuel Margot hit that curveball very hard, but it's fouled on the third base line, make it 0-1.
If this does make it into fair ball territory, chances are he would get at least a base hit, and Torkelson's going to take off. Oh my goodness, we're sweet.
Waiting on the 0-1 as Blake Snell is about to throw pitch number 50, make it 1-1.
That evens it up as Margot, he decided not to swing at it. So he does provide solid services for what he's worth.
Yeah, I really like the pickup there as far as the insurance, as you said, with Parker Meadows. I don't know how long he's going to be out. Pitch clock down to 2. Another jam shot. This one to the first base line. Manuel Margot, how do you do, sir? 2 for 2.
Yeah, you followed that up when they spoke it into existence when he said if that was hit onto the fair ball territory. This one is towards the right field side, right over Cole Keith. And there's an area where he does not get onto it. Torkelson just jumped out of the way and then advances over one base. Not too far from, but not too shabby for Margot. He's 2 for 2 so far today.
Yeah, it almost hit Torkelson in the back of the foot. Thankfully, it didn't. And now Cole Keith, again, you mentioned it in the first time, up to the second, had a leverage at bat. Now you got 2 on and nobody out. There's no excuse not to cash in here, even against somebody like Blake Snell, curveball outside the zone. And I think they're going to say that Cole Keith offered at it. It's unfortunate, 0-1.
I thought he didn't. Unless the umpires are seeing something different. There has to be something that shows that he went across the line.
Yeah, I didn't see it myself, Alec. I'm trying not to look through Tigers' colored glasses here. It's curveball way outside. Good block for Will Smith.
A good block by Smith so as to prevent the runners on bases to run through because that block was needed so as to prevent it to be called as a pass ball.
Waiting on the 1-1 as we just got the camera shot of Kerry Carpenter. We'll give more on him in a moment. 95 will be followed straight back. So Kerry Carpenter is not in the lineup today because the lefty doesn't hit well against on the same side. He absolutely kills righties. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that we will see Kerry Carpenter. We're just not going to see him right now as it's 1-2.
Perhaps it's a pinch hitter, I would guess.
That would be the leverage, and A.J. Hinch is not afraid to press those buttons. We saw him do it all throughout the postseason. This is 82. This one will not split the gap. Will be caught in left field, and the runners will have to stay put.
It was a low drive onto the left field side. It was more towards the liner. It was a high liner, low flyer type of swing. Not too much ground to make up for it. Made towards the left side middle area. So middle left field, more like it. Everyone's held up.
Yeah, and Andy Pages made that one look easy. A little bit of an uppercut there, as Alec mentioned, is get a camera shot of A.J. Hinch. You know, whether or not you thought it was a good idea after everything that happened with the Astros to bring him here, Tigers will never let him go at this point. I can tell you that because he's made a lot of water into wine with this lineup. And Javier Baez, that is a miserable swing, but it will work as a sacrifice nonetheless. And we're at the same spot we were in the second inning now. Like this time, 2 ducks on the pond. Jake Rogers, the last hope in the top 4.
So back-to-back times, Javi Baez sacrificed himself to move the runners, but that was not an ideal swing for Javi Baez. You would rather have to towards more contact to a stronger part of the bat. That wasn't one on the strongest parts of the bats.
No, you got 2 plate appearances, just 3 pitches long, and it's just feeble swings. And again, it's not me picking on Baez. It's the way it's been here for his Tigers tenure. He just looks lost, and any sort of adjustments that they try to make in spring training, it doesn't kick in. Javi Baez is who he is. As this is 87, this will miss outside, and the count now will move to 2-0.
If Baez, he hasn't been exactly like his past form in his tenure with the Tigers. It's sad to see how much fall from grace he had.
3-0, and again, this does not surprise me here in the slightest. I know Ryan Kreidler does have a single in this game. Jake Rogers has some power, 10 home runs, but Ryan Kreidler, they're probably guessing that he's not going to do it again. If you're Jake, you probably got to take here on a 3-0.
Take your chances where it can get them. Ooh. Well, he didn't take a chance there, but he does take a strike. He will have one more look.
So we'll see how selective Jake wants to be with count leverage. Again, he doesn't have a high batting average himself, just 197. This one misses upstairs. Its base is loaded. Normally, I'd be more excited. It's Ryan Kreidler. He's got a single before. He could put himself in the history books as far as Tigers fans are concerned if he comes through here. It is just a look to see how Blake Snell's doing on the pitching card. He's already at 60 with the bases juiced.
And here comes Mark Pryor to discuss that's with Blake Snell. So if it's the pitching coach, that means he's staying on. If it's the manager, that means it's a pitching change, unless if you're Blake Treinen in Game 5 of the World Series.
And why am I not surprised as I look across the scoreboard here for the Philadelphia Phillies that both Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber went deep?
It's what the Phillies do. You live by the long ball, and that's a lifestyle that the Phillies love to ride by, the long ball. Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, that's the style which they ride by. But this Phillies core is not getting any younger. How much time is left in there? That's fair to wonder.
That's the question, because if it's not for the Dodgers, you'd be thinking about the Phillies as another one of those teams that can win it all. They're still that good, but Alec is right. The clock will start to strike against them at some point. Tigers and runners in scoring position are 0 for 7. They've had their chances. Don't want to make it 0 for 8. As this one way outside of the changeup, make it 1-1.
Any momentum can change on a dime if you want to get your runners in scoring position. Anything can change in an instant, especially for Ryan Kreidler, who's getting his first looks this year as this newcomer.
Big swing and a miss on a changeup. And again, as Alex said, just a little bit for Tarek Skubal, as good as he is, and the Tigers bullpen could get you a victory here in the first game for the Tigers. But it's top 4, 2 outs, 1-2 count. Crowd to its feet. This one spiked in the dirt. Good block from Will Smith to make sure the runners stay where they are.
Will Smith's coming off a down year last season. How he's going to answer back will be the case of if it's just a down year last year or if it's age catching up to him.
And that's something to talk about between him and Wilson Contreras, 2 of the better hitting catchers that we have. This one gets away from Smith. The Tigers will take it. They score.
Oh, just what I mentioned about Will Smith. Oh, my goodness, the announcer jinx is real. I don't want to mention it, but it's tied up at 1 as this got away from Smith. Trying to block that. Had the same idea as it was spiked to the dirt, but it just escapes him. Hits his helmet.
And Alec, you're not going to get any blame from me. I say thank you for that. The Tigers absolutely should have this score line considering. Now, can Kreidler come through? No. He swung at a ball. It would have been bases loaded again. The Tigers get a gift. It's 1-1.
Yeah, Freddie, Tommy Two Bags, and Will up next for the Dodgers at the bottom of the 4th. Those are the guys that are due up. Of course, with the Tigers tying things up on a gift from Blake Snell and Will Smith, but the erroneous handle as it got away from him. Well, a gift from Snell has tied this one up. I would wonder how the Dodgers would answer back if they're going to come out swinging and raking at the Tigers. But against Tarek Skubal, it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not. But again, I do take your point, Alec, as far as them probably being frustrated that this game is as close as it is. It would not surprise me if they can come out and rock Tarek Skubal a little bit. Not saying that he's prone to give up a ton of runs, but it's not like they didn't just have their opportunity in the third. Teoscar Hernandez punched out.
So that opportunity would come to pass, but nonetheless, it's pick your poison with this Dodger lineup. Who do you want to go up against? You wouldn't go up against any of these guys because these are super talented players with all the batting power in the world, and that they can smack you with any different way.
Let me ask you this, Alec. As far as your Pittsburgh Pirates, what do you think your projections are this year?
More or less from what it was last year. Because I wasn't expecting much from the Pirates in the offseason, and I of course there wasn't much to see unless we count Spencer Horwitz and Tommy Pham, but those are minor additions. Horwitz is young and is up, and Horwitz is a young project. I don't know much about him, but perhaps it's a low-key addition to the team. Pham, I think, is a rental.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking some of the same things that I think about my Tigers when I think about your Pirates as far as that I still have some talent. It's unfortunate that they lost today with Paul Skeens on the mound as opening day because Skeens has got to be one of the youngest opening day starters that we've ever had.
Yep, he's one of the youngest and most promising pieces. And you wonder how much the Pirates going to do to help him out.
So Skubal will get the benefit of the doubt on a slider there, as that one misses a little bit low. Again, Skubal and Freeman are the batting that you think about. That's what you dream about as far as broadcasting. Slider makes it 0-2.
So, of course, your Skubal is having his way with Freeman early here.
90 miles an hour, 3 straight of the same pitch. This time on the bottom right side is Blake Snell talking alongside with Will Smith saying, what happened there in the wild pitches? He shakes his head. It looks like they were having a serious conversation, Alec.
Yeah, it looks so. And they were having that serious conversation. But Skubal, he does put away Freddie here.
Yeah, I don't want to wonder too much because it's only the first game, but when you have those type of conversations as far as guys being on the same page, maybe Will Smith got his signals crossed alongside Blake Snell because, again, as Alec mentioned, that did hit Will Smith right in the mask.
Yeah, pitcher and catcher communication is paramount in Major League Baseball and any baseball league. You want to make sure you're on the same page as the pitcher and catcher are and to not have the signals cross up.
So a little bit of a snapdragon there on a curveball alongside for Tarek Skubal. Tommy Edman is the only one that's done the damage so far, 1-for-1 with a tank. 4 home runs in the last 9 games since Game 6 of the NLCS. But he's been on an absolute tear. And I guess that started right into 2025 as a changeup misses low in the dirt.
And he didn't hit a lot of home runs last year up until Game 6 of the NLCS. We started to turn it on the home run department.
I guess everybody just likes sitting in Dodger blue. We'll see if this one splits the gap. Kreidler, oh, what a catch toward the wall.
And he held on to it the entire way. That is the defensive highlight of tonight. Back at the warning tracks towards the wall, he went sliding more so head first towards the wall to make that outstanding catch to take away what could have been at least a double from Tommy Tubax at center field going after this one. And he slides head first towards the wall, makes the catch, and Skubal's loving it. Wow.
And I say this jokingly, but is that Parker Meadows or Ryan Kreidler?
I mean, who brought the cold machine here?
That looks about as good as it gets, and this is just opening day. A good changeup strike there against Will Smith as ESPN deservedly takes another look at it, and the full dive avoids the wall right in at the track. That is an A-plus catch.
A++, and it's worth showing it again because that was outstanding as it comes.
Check swing against Will Smith. They're going to say no. Skubal ratcheted it up there to 99.
That looked very close though for Will Smith. He did get almost all of that one, but didn't cross that line, so it had to be called one.
98. This one will be looped toward the right field side. Emmanuel Margot off the plate on the hop. Will Smith has got himself a single.
So after that near miss, is Will Smith dodges a bullet and rewards himself with a base hit towards down the right field line towards Margot's direction. Now, I do note that there's a new first base coach for the Dodgers because Quentin McCullough took the managing job for the Miami Marlins. The new first base coach, Chris Woodward, now in charge of the first base side. So, first piece of business for him in Dodger blue.
Big cut for Max Muncy, who's known for his home run power. That was top left corner. He just couldn't find it. As far as Max Muncy, again, 15 home runs, 48 RBI. And he's really right. He can get you about 30, 35. Not much of a batting average, kind of like Kyle Schwarber, but he can take it deep. This was a slider. Good block there for Jake. He's accustomed to that. He's one of the better defensive catchers that we have. Tarik Skubal's pitch count is still in great shape. He had to work a little bit in the third. He sits at 48. As it's a 1-1 count. Get the sign there for Jake and get set to deliver here. It's a 1-1 game at Dodger Stadium. A 98 sinker challenge pitch. Once he misses it, make it 1-2.
Effort going up against Skubal is like going up against these starting pitchers who have a fire blazer of a 4-seamer, 2-seamer like Skubal, Spencer Strider, or Skeens. They can fool you out with that speed on the pitch.
99 does not get the call for Skubal. I thought for sure he had a punch out.
He nearly had it. Just trying to fit that to the bottom left corner. That's a 50-50 call most of the time, but that does not go his way.
2-2 now. This is pitch number 51. This one high and followed straight back from Muncy. And again, Alec, as you mentioned all that, alongside for Skubal, you also get that in the lefty that could throw 100 miles an hour and have all these other pitches. That's why he's one of the very best in the game.
Even though he has one strikeout tonight, he's still a high caliber pitcher. That's why he won the triple round in pitching. Wow.
That's a nasty changeup there as Max Muncy swings right through it. I do want to give full marks to the Dodgers. As good as their lineup is, that's the only reason why Tarik Skubal only has 2 strikeouts, because Alec and I mentioned he's got his A game right now. I know Tommy Edman took him deep, but he's been throwing some good pitches. But this Dodgers lineup is just really hard to deal with.
It is. This Dodgers power lineup can make life a living hell for pitchers all around. For Skubal to get 2 strikeouts and limit the Dodgers to 1 run is excellent piece of business for him.
Yes, it is, and you'll get set to take over in the 5th. It's a 1-1 game. We kind of expected it to be this type of game, Alec, but the way that we got here, as far as a wild pitch and the Edmund going deep, Tigers having a lot of runners in scoring position. If the Tigers don't win this game, I think the one thing you can look at, and the main thing you'll look at, is so far they're 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
That is one thing to look at. A glaring weakness from the Tigers by runners in scoring position from this game to take away from. But I want to also note this. When I mentioned about Boston University, who had them winning 8-3 over Ohio State, who had Cornell upsetting Michigan State in the first round of the Frozen Four tournament. They beat the Spartans in the last 10 seconds of play and walk it off 4-3.
So, Alec, you're telling me again, just so I heard that right, the Spartans' journey in the postseason is over?
Yes, it's over after 1 round.
Well, I'll say this, and I know Michigan State beat the snot out of Michigan a few times, whether it's hockey or basketball. Stay away from those maize and blue trolls.
That's what I want to tell them as well. Stay away from them because they're just going to be vicious around. Don't feed the trolls because that's negative attention on the internet. Just prioritize your mental health.
As much as I'd like to have fun with that, I won't, because for Nightingale's squad in Michigan State, I did say this. They had a lot of returners. I don't know about superstars, but you do have Trey Augustine and all that stuff there. That's a bitter disappointment.
It is. A team that looked to be a championship contender for the national championship is fell flat. Ibanez swings and fouls this one. This took a wild bounce backwards, but man, that's got to sting hard for the green and white.
Yeah, I really don't know what to say about that one, Alec. Again, I know I lean more for Michigan side as an Oakland alma mater, but still, you respect everybody around you, and to think that Michigan State basketball Spartans are still going and the hockey team isn't. I thought the hockey team would at least probably go to you know the Elite Eight, something like that, like in the final 8, 16. I mean, it would be pretty much a cakewalk for a team like that.
It would, in all essence. But Boston University may come away with this one. Who knows? Why ball kill left field? Backing up at the warning tracks at left field is Ibanez. One up and one away.
And Andy Ibanez hit that one pretty good. That was a heck of an adjustment because when he whipped on the pitch in the dirt, I thought he could have swung at that twice. This time, Baez for the second time. It was Rogers the first time, and now Ibanez gets driven to the warning track.
There's a feeling of me hearing the words back at the wall from Joe Buck that brings a sense of nostalgia now that he's back to calling baseball games. That's got to feel very good. Strike one for Torres. He did not swing at the ball going dead center.
And my question there is why? You're not going to get a better pitch there alongside Blake Snell. We'll see what Gleyber Torres can do.
And that time he did not swing, as this one just outside left, 1-1.
Do any of us want to put money on the Athletics? We can't say Oakland now, making the postseason, because where the heck would they even play if they do so? I think it's called Suter Health Field.
Well, who knows? Two, so and the de facto name could be Sacramento Athletics because they play in Sacramento now. This is lighter towards center field, and Torres reaches for the first time as a Tiger.
That is good to see there. I will take Alec, admittedly, any minuses with the glove if he can plus for the bat, because the Tigers didn't do a whole ton in the offseason, but Gleyber Torres, I mean, you and I saw it in the World Series. I still think he can be a big piece alongside this Tigers team and really help their offense because they need his offense.
He excelled as the leadoff hitter for the Yankees, and he striked that position for a while in his time and with the pinstripes. 1-0 count for Riley Greene, All-Star last year, got himself into MVP discussions. While the Tigers, they've been doing well by means of Scooble. Riley Greene is their true leader at the bats. Top center inside, and that's strike one.
And yes, he is, Alec. And again, I will say this. I'm glad that we're doing this game because when I last looked at the Penguins and the Red Wings, it just makes me want to cry.
Same here. Reminiscing of old times as two together. Disengagement used and easily going back to first was Torres.
Do you think, and I don't know if I'm going to be around, but do you think you're going to be able to cover Alex Ovechkin making history?
We'll say that I'll start covering him when he's at around 3 goals to go.
Okay. I know we're in the middle of this, Alec, but just try to send me some messages back and forth on X, and I'll see if I can try to join you because I know I'll be gone for this weekend, but we're going to try to get in on the broadcast if we can.
We'll try that for as best as we can as possible. You see some Japanese fans making the trip to watch Shohei Ohtani play. He is the man of the hour whenever you have Japanese showdowns. It's 2-2 on the count. That one just slightly upstairs.
That's a tough call against Riley Greene there because Terry Scoble had more borderline ones. But yeah, you're right. As far as the Japanese fans, you got a lot to root for in the Dodgers. And you have that in the Cubs and the Tokyo Dome. That'd be exciting. A lot of Japanese players.
Way outside the fastball. And whenever you see Ohtani, you think of the Japanese culture that plays not only of Los Angeles, but also the surrounding areas. The Pacific Coast is known for a lot of Japanese culture in many major cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle among the main three.
And again, you talk about it in terms of the style of play, more contact hitting, but Ohtani's giving you all that too. But they're just really fundamentally sound, good baseball players.
Mm-hmm. Payoff. Big swing and is driven to right field. Going around is Torres to second. Riley Greene makes his way to first. And the throw was slightly up, but Torres reaches third safely, and Greene heads to second.
I was going to ask you that, Alec. Would Torres be confident enough to take the extra 90 feet? A little bit of a wild throw there from right field as this was kind of just dumped in there like a lawn dart. Tigers do get the extra positioning here on the base pass, And dare I say it now, Alec, how many more chances are you going to get before you get into the Dodgers bullpen at some point? Tigers have got to come through. I think at this point, Alec, honestly, they've been the better team. They just can't come through with runners in scoring position.
Getting more Snell into a deeper workload to more pitches, and you think at this point that he'll be out after the 5th inning. Fly ball on the right field. Is this fair? Or is the right field line? No, it is foul.
Well, no one more than me and the rest of the Tigers Nation is going to be rooting for Spencer Torkelson to have a good night. I know he had the base running gap, but he's already got a couple of walks. And you think all you need for somebody like Torque is that power. Just get it deep enough and score a run.
And he does not swing that time around. That one just to the inside. Good ball awareness.
Yeah, I will definitely double down on that, Alec. It looks like he's got the eye walked in, and if that's something that Spencer Torkelson can build on, that's going to help him stay up in the major leagues.
Even to count number 1, you have Greene at second, Torres at third. And Torkelson does not swing on a curveball. He already has 2 walks, and he scored on a run on a wild pitch. If this can be a 3rd walk, oh, man.
I don't care if he scores runs or not. You get 3 walks, Alec. That's a heck of a game to start. Again, for all the intrigue that Spencer Torkelson has, good or bad, this is a good night for him. See if he can come through.
Okay, and that big over streak of reverse and scoring position. And there's another ball. So that's 3 balls and 1 strike. 219 batting average, 10 home runs. Don't worry, it's 2 walks and a run. But it might be inching closer to that 3rd walk. Already you have guys on the mound. Ben Kasparius is the first one at the bullpen. So now here's the 3-1. Torkelson swung and missed on the changeup.
I don't mind it. At least he strung out a strike. I was wondering if he was going to get big. We saw Kasparius last year in mop-up duty, and he did not look good at all in the postseason. So that might be something the Tigers can hope for if they can get past him. We'll see if Snow can get out of this with pitch number 85.
Hopefully the Dodgers can get out of this one, or the Torkelson can deliver here. Did he go? No swing. That's a walk.
3 walks for Spencer Torkelson for number 20. Somebody help him cash in, because he's had some tough pitches that he's had to lay off at the dirt. Honestly, Alec, a few other times we would see him swing at those, and he's been able to keep the discipline. Good work for the young man.
Now the question is, do we see Mark Pryor or do we see Dave Roberts here? Snell is 85 pitches deep, but he only has 1 out here in his Dodger debut as their ace pitcher. First pitch to Manuel Margot. Oh, that's downstairs. Look to be a ball.
That's an awful call there for Manuel Margot. He's already got a couple of hits, but that is big, as you mentioned. With a couple of hits for Margot, it's good for Snell to get ahead.
But he's going to get nicely for Matt Bierling and Marker Meadows tonight. So that's good piece of business. Margot inside, bases loaded still, fastball.
Yeah, you're right, Alec. For a guy that wasn't even expected to play and be a pickup late, I mean, that's a good job right now for Margot. He's just got to get a deep fly ball.
He's got a fire lit under his eyes. Got to hit it deep. High fly ball. And this will tag in the runner at third. It's at the warning track. It'll be enough to score a run. The Tigers will take the lead here, 2-1.
So Spencer Torkelson, 3 walks. Manuel Margot, 2 for 2 with a sacrifice. I would say that middle of the order right now for Detroit in 4 and 5. That is an A+ grade for me. That's a perfect at-bat.
Yes, it is. A perfect at-bat for Margot. And even though this brings his batting percentage down to start the year for Tigers, and in this small sample size, he's looked good to begin his Tiger career. Doing a nice job doing it for Bierling and Meadows. No problem. Go keep up next.
And you credit, too, Gleyber Torres for taking that extra 90 feet to get to third base to score that run.
Kreidler and Riley Greene are the only 2 batters to hit a run, not among players not named Manuel Margot, as the tough call for Keith, but Blake Snell fit that perfectly to bottom right.
Well, Blake Snell, and I know you said this right, Alec, at least they're making him work. I mean, he's got 90 pitches through 4 2/3.
4 2/3 here, you got runners in the corners. But the courage by Gleyber Torres to reach third base is what led to this sack wide for the Tigers to take the lead. 1-1 count here, still with runners at the corners. Riley Greene occupying one of them, and then at the other end of it, You have Spencer Torkelson on the walk, his third. Kasperius is still warming up in the bullpen. The notion is that he'll be the next guy up onto the mound. 1-1 pitch. Bottom right again. Another perfect placement for Snell. That caught Keith off guard.
Yeah, nothing you can do there for Colt Keith. You're better off taking it, otherwise you're smacking into the ground. AJ Hinch's squad has the lead. We know about the pitching chaos from last year. See if they can score some more runs.
1-2. Swinging a bouncer towards second. It's picked up by Freddie. And Keith will just stop and head for the dugout. But it's not a piece of business for the Tigers. They take the lead on a sac fly, heading towards the bottom of the fifth with Rojas, Ibanez, and Ohtani.
So we'll see what we get. Again, I'm a little bit surprised. I'll just be honest, Alec, that the Tigers do have the lead. I know they got Skubal on the mound. I was hoping that they can get a couple more runs to supplement Skubal because there was times they did not come through, but that was a little bit of small ball there. Another walk. Again, the extra 90 feet for Torres. As we said, Margot did his job. I guess I can't complain too much that they have the lead now in the fifth and they're getting the bullpen, because the one thing you can give the Tigers complete credit for is they made Blake Snell work today.
Yeah, they did. Forcing the throw 90 times towards the Tigers. You believe that Snell's outing would end here. If not, if you want to have him go for one more sequence, at the very most, if you want Snell to go out there, just one more sequence at maximum.
Yeah.
Don't overexhaust him. After that sequence, or if you decide to put in the relievers, you have to go out with the guy that you have warming up the bullpen. You have Kasperius warming up in the bullpen because of that situation that Snell put himself into. He had himself a rough go in the fifth inning, throwing 23+ times.
No, you're absolutely right. As far as anything for Snell in the next part of the inning, I'll double down on that. It would probably just be batter to batter, maybe at one batter at most if you want to get the handedness side. And then as we get into the part of the bullpen, and you got Kasperius and everything else, you probably will see in the back half of this game Kerry Carpenter get a pinch hit at bat. Again, Tarek Skubal in the mix of his day, 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts. Again, the strikeouts seem low, but it is the Dodgers lineup. Blake Snell, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 strikeouts for him. So this has been the pitching matchup that we expected. Tigers probably could have scored more with the runners that were left in scoring position. We'll see what the Dodgers can do, 8, 9, and 1. It's Rojas, Pages, and Ohtani.
Well, New Jersey numbers say Miguel Rojas, even though he switched from 11 to 72, still the same as he once was before. And Minnesota State and Western Michigan are set to go in overtime number 2. Nobody scored in the first overtime, so they go into the second overtime. We did have a double overtime game last year between Denver and UMass. Denver won it on the way to their national championship. Getting back over here, as we're seeing highlights of Tarek Skubal in this game as he delivers a first pitch strike to Miggy Rowe.
Again, just to remind everybody, the bottom 5, Tarek Skubal's pitch count, he's still only at 53, and he had some leverage that he had to deal with in the 3rd and 4th to be able to get out of trouble and minimize the damage. So Tarek Skubal has been about as good as it gets as far as pitch count.
82 strikeouts with the change, which is third most in the MLB. One of those pitchers that's ahead of it being Bailey Over. Did Rojas go? No, he didn't. He was eerily close though. So it's ball 1 as it went upstairs.
So I guess once this game's all said and done, Alec, I'll probably take a look at UMass and Minnesota. I don't want to see the entire part of the Big Ten fall down here in this opening portion of the tournament, but they're not faring so well.
Well, it's mirror images of college basketball and college hockey, where college hockey, the Big Ten isn't doing too good. College basketball, they've been thriving. They won the first 10 games until Wisconsin fell to BYU. Drive towards left, but immediately it's picked up at third and it rolled all the way across.
How have you been enjoying the NCAA basketball tournament?
So far, it's more the top seeds doing the damage. And even though High Point lost, or we have some thrillers here. The BYU-Wisconsin game was one of the most notable ones.
Yep.
The Houston-Gonzaga game that I've covered was cinema. Absolute cinema. And this one to the left on the first pitch, outside left. But so far, March Madness has been up and down. But the games I covered, I enjoyed them a lot. The second pitch is inside left at the zone.
I think you said that absolutely right, Alec. I was just going to double down and ask you there too. I wonder if the transfer portal and the NIL money have something to do with that, for the reason why the top seeds are just not having to deal with as much madness as usual.
I just wish that High Point could have pulled off the upset, but no upsets from 13 to 16 seeds this year. Insane. That one off the edge of the backward pies. Another foul ball, so it's 1-2.
Yeah, Andy Paez has had to reach way outside the zone to the left side of the box to foul that one off as School's ahead 1-2.
Derek Struble having himself a night, 61 pitches through this fifth inning. And Paez fouls again, so he's going to stay put for another pitch here. The L for Struble to throw pitch number 63.
So chase rate on the changeup has gone up precipitously from 22% in 2021 to 46% in 2024. All five of his pitches are definitely plus, but the fastball changeup probably his best.
To see how he goes here. Another foul kick. This time he went to the fastball and not the changeup.
This is a heck of an at-bat here right now for Paez. He's trying to drive up the pitch count for Tarek Skubal. Again, the bullpen leverage is good for the Tigers, but this is good work for Paez.
And he doesn't get another foul kick. So this is a very good at-bat for Andy Paez. And you think that the longer he goes here, the more inclined you think that he'll get a run.
Want to see if Tarek Skubal changes location and we go down and inside.
He does, but Paez answers the call, and he does get a base hit.
That's crazy. He went exactly with what I called, and I'm not even going to say as a baseball analyst, we're doing this stuff for fun, but Paez was ready for that, and that was just a professionally really good at-bat for Paez. That's a golf clap.
At least 7 bats and seven sequences here for Andy Paez on that sequence, because when the longer the at-bat is, the more inclined you think that the batter will get a hit off of a Skubal. Here's the pickoff attempt as Paez tried to steal it, but he was ready for it.
Well, you know what this creates, Alec, as you're calling it. It's Paez at first with Ohtani. Ohtani can hit a jam here, and the Dodgers would take the lead.
If he does, a long ball would do wonders here for the Dodger blue. Ohtani doesn't go at this ball that was going downstairs. A two-seamer, 97.
And that's what makes this so big, because it creates way for Ohtani, and then you got Mookie Betts, Teoscar, Freddie Freeman, and Skubal's right back into the ringer.
At the top of this order, right line for Skubal. Caught Ohtani off guard. Surprised him 2-1.
That was an absolute dot of a changeup. It was the last spot it could be in that right of the box. Skubal's got his sweat on now. Ohtani just looks always so calm.
No matter how he is, he's always calm in these situations. This bounces beyond the foul line, so it evens it up at 2. You think that Skubal's got a bit of momentum back. He'll be throwing number 70 next.
And we'll see what he can do. If he wants to go upstairs, downstairs, again, Ohtani's got supreme back control. Again, to get him on base, he also has the speed as well. We talk about the plethora of stolen bases, and we'll see what awaits us here on pitch number 70.
Almost at 60 up there last year to go with his 54 home runs. The Skubal, pitch number 70 is a bouncer. Will this be a double play? It will be a fielder's choice. So Paez is out at second. Exchange to a single for an out.
Question now, Alec, the $1 million one is, since Paez is out at second, does Ohtani dare to steal second base? Because I know Jake Rogers is a good defensive catcher, but I think if Ohtani decides to go, he's probably going to get it.
I would believe so, though Rogers has that defensive awareness to go with them from the catcher's spot. It takes guts to throw all the way to second to catch their runner off guard here at second. So 0-1 is this one inside.
And now Mookie Betts, again, a 289 last season, 19 bombs, 75 RBI. Home runs seem a little low. I promise you they're not. Mookie Betts probably about another 31 campaign this year as far as tanks.
1-0 for Mookie on pitch number 72. Low upstairs and no swing. It's 2-0. I confused it for 1.
Nope, you're good. And I was wondering if that pitch was intentionally high just because of Ohtani and the threat to run. as Freddie Freeman was getting a camera shot. Teoscar would be next if Mookie reaches.
Oh, just outside. Real.
Not much you can do there as far as Mookie Betts other than take it there. He's got good leverage here. Mookie can get a little wild if he wants to take a big swing at this.
He's showing up with Boston and LA. This side's not the swing, and this was outside, and it's all four.
My guess, Alec, right there from what we saw in that pitching sequence, all inside, all intentionally high. I don't think Skubal had any intention of pitching to Mookie Betts.
There might be that thought process as well that Mookie can deliver a big swing whenever it's down out at strike zone. Anytime. He's that dangerous. But now, $1 million question. Does this same logic apply to Teoscar Hernandez about not intentionally pitching to him? No, this is blasted to deep center field. All the way back in the warning track, leaping up, and it's gone! Teoscar Hernandez arrives here in LA.
That's the one thing I thought about. Again, the pressure cooker is never done. Can't say too much with Derek Skubal. I can't throw too much blame because you throw any walks there alongside Mookie Betts, it doesn't get any easier. Hey, you want to walk me? Hey, you got to deal with Teoscar Hernandez as the beach ball is put up in the air. That's a big jam. That's a 3-run shot, and who knows? That might be enough for the Dodgers to go ahead and win this one. I know it's bottom 5. But the Tigers had so many runners in scoring position did not come through. That 3-run home run seems very big at this point.
It is. And it puts them up in the lead 4-2. It's a 3-run shot for Teoscar Hernandez as he delivers again for the Dodger Blue at those gold oak numberings and letterings. 2 strikes in as many sequences for Freddie Freeman on this at-bat. 0-2. Freeman tries one. He fouls this one. He stays alive on the fastball. Dave Roberts watches onwards. His Dodgers team has all the power in the world with the bats.
Then I would say this for Teoscar as Freddie takes one in the dirt. For if you're Teoscar Hernandez, you might just want to retire as a Dodger.
Good believe. So he has established his place with the Dodgers. He loves to play in this city. It's a Dodger town. Freeman drives into left field, but that does not move Riley Greene that much. He makes a catch, and that's out number 3.
Man, that one hurts if you're a Tigers fan because you look at that 7, 8, 9 in the mix of Baez, Rogers, and Kreidler. Kreidler just ran out of room. It's not a particularly deep center field, but that's still well over 400 feet for Teoscar Hernandez. A little bit of a big shot as he gets showered with the sunflower seeds, and for good reason. Dodgers now have a 5-2 lead.
The 4-2 lead
4-2
for the
lead.
Dodgers is proving dividends so far with that big swing from Teoscar. Now they're out in front again. This is where they want to be up front, to live by the long ball. And so far, and looking at March Madness, Alabama is having their way with BYU to start the second half. So they're up by 16, but crazier things have happened before.
Let me look at that as far as the scores as well, because I haven't had a chance to follow as much of the tournament as I would have liked to as we look at the board today. Again, as you mentioned, Alabama 63-47. You got Florida, the Gators, up on the Terrapins at halftime just by 2. It's a 1-4 seed there. You got Arizona and Duke at 9:40, and then Arkansas and Texas Tech. Let me ask you this, Alec, because I haven't been able to follow it as much. Are the Iowa State Cyclones still alive?
So to look at the Iowa State Cyclones, I've not seen them over years. So they are eliminated from the tournament. But as to answer your question,
that was the one team I saw in the Battle of Auburn this year that was going for number 1 seed. That was one of the teams I picked to win it. And it's kind of crazy because you look at Michigan State tomorrow against Ole Miss. I did not expect Michigan to still be alive. They're going to be playing Auburn tomorrow at 9:40.
Tough challenge for Dusty May tomorrow, but nonetheless, if there's anyone that can pull off something, it could be Dusty May pulling off and the unthinkable against this Auburn team. Auburn is stacked, but it's going to take a Herculean effort from the Wolverines to pull off this upset.
Yeah, and there's not going to be any blame for me whether or not they win or lose because we talk about it a few times. Juwan Howard, God bless his soul, great as a player. They got everything else going there for Michigan, and that kind of was a train wreck. And then Dusty May gets some NIL, some transfers, and all of a sudden Michigan basketball is back. And I think a lot of the fans are thankful as Ben Kasparius now gets set to pitch on the mound.
He was one of the relievers on the dot after championship bullpen last year, though he was more utilized as a long reliever last year during the run. But he's more utilized in those bullpen games. Here he's getting trusted early. See how he's up to the challenge.
So can the Tigers do some damage against the bullpen? And Zach McKinstry will be the first new piece of lumber off the bench. Takes a pretty good cut. He just doesn't find it at 96, make it 0-1.
You believe that Zach McKinstry was slotted over at the infield in the place of Ibanez. So that would be the logical thinking behind A.J. Hinch.
And AJ, as we mentioned, not afraid to press buttons. And you're exactly right, Javier Baez. I know it's only 2 at-bats, but again, it's 2 at-bats and 3 pitches, 2 just pretty weak outs. And you're going to have to make the move there. McKinstry doesn't have the greatest batting average either. So we'll see the way that works out as Dave Roberts looks on. It's a 1-2 against McKinstry.
We saw that Blake Snell was chatting with Clayton Kershaw before the pitches from Ben Kasparius. I would imagine what they were both chatting about.
This one inside toward the hands be fouled on the first base line.
Though McKinstry slotted into the place of Ibanez, though McKinstry was one of those breakout players from last year onto this team. They want to build on it too.
He's got a little bit of a infield glove and an outfield glove as well. The batting average, a little bit to be desired. He does have some power when necessary, but the Tigers won't depend on him for anything too crazy. As I look back up into the lineup, McKinstry was .215 last year, 4 home runs, 23 RBI. Not too bad for a platoon bat. As this fastball, and this is very high.
And Kasparius mostly relies on his legs to get his hits.
That's what we're going to see right now for McKinstry, should he do so, as it's a full count. This one way outside. Again, Will Smith had no hope of blocking that, but it is just a leadoff walk.
Oh, a leadoff walk for McKinstry. So far, so good. That one had no chance of getting blocked off. If so, then everyone would have went. And everyone else would have went after that.
I got to say, I know as they're showing Teoscar Hernandez's home run, if thing was a little bit different right now for the Tigers and they have more runs, I would say Will Smith, some of these pitches have been wild. He's kind of had a nightmare behind the dish with some of these pass balls and pitches that have gone against the screen, but thankfully no one was on base.
And that's what I was pointing out to you about down years so far. Will Smith's down year last year was a byproduct of it just being a down year, or if it's age catching up to him.
Jake Rogers will loop this one to the left field line. And stop me if you heard this before. The Tigers have the first 2 on. Can they do some damage? Again, Alec and I watched Kasparius a little bit in the World Series as far as mop-up duty. He gave about 7-8 runs. He did not look good. And I would imagine if the Dodgers get their bullpen ready to go, they're going to do so quickly. It looks like Alex Vesia.
Yeah, Vesia is the one warming up right now. So they have 2 on and nobody out so far. Kasparius is not looking comfortable so far.
So here's what I've been talking about, Alec. It only took him to the 6th inning, but this is damage time for Kerry Carpenter against Kasparius, who's got nowhere to go. He's got one more of the bat minimum. He's got to deal with Kerry Carpenter now.
Yeah, Kerry Carpenter into the game. So, and Kasparius is a righty. Kasparius is a righty. That's the matchup that A.J. Hinch wants. To insert a righty up against, and to insert Carpenter up against a righty. That's the ideal matchup going 1-on-1.
We've seen some of this stuff last year in the posters. I know the Tigers didn't win against the Guardians, but you do remember that take against Emmanuel Clase to win it. Kerry Carpenter's got some serious power. He can make this a 5-4 game in an instant if Kasparius hangs it. And Carpenter did indeed go for the downs. He missed the curveball.
Not a bad idea to go after that ball, but it's such a hard pitch to swing at. But Kerry Carpenter is 805,
Wow.
percentage and pitches in the zone ahead of Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge.
That is not a list that is very light, Alec. That is tremendous numbers, but now he's 0-2.
Yeah, on the foul ball towards the right, nonetheless. But to be on the list that you are above Ohtani and Judge, that's got to be a good company to be at. Not to mention that you're also above Brent Rooker and Bobby Wood Jr. in that same category.
Yeah, absolutely. Carpenter, 96. This is a jam. The third base side. Who wants it? It's Mookie Betts calling off everybody.
Well, it was Max Muncy and Mookie Betts both there at the same time. But AJ Hinch got the match that he wanted. But Carpenter didn't get a good swing out of that one against Kasparis. But some redemption for Kasparis. He does put away Carpenter. So that foul meeting was necessary for him to get his confidence back. He did point towards the sky to signal that the ball was going towards the left field side, shallow area.
So McKinstry walks, Rogers hits a single, and Carpenter pops out. I'm just going to leave it up to Andy Ibanez. He's still got the leverage here, but he's much better against lefties. Kasparis is a righty. This one will be hand grenaded back in behind as it was a pop out. And we will do it again. Foul.
I did want to get back towards the topic of the Frozen Four tournament. It's over. Western Michigan wins in double overtime.
So good work there for the Broncos. It's a big one. Again, you play those marathon type games. It's best that you come out ahead because when you lose those, you don't feel very good. As it's 0-1, again, Ibanez in the grand cut falls it straight back.
0-2 on that count. 2 grand cuts for Ibanez. He wants to get that confidence back. Ibanez being on the leadoff spot, you wonder whether that's a notion of strategy up against lefties to begin the order. Against righties, you would think that Gleyber Torres would be the leadoff.
A little bit of a check swing. That was odd. It hit the bottom of his bat, Alec, and went foul.
Yeah, it did. That looked like an awkward-looking swing after that pitch.
Fortunate to stay alive. Looks like Kyle Manzardo, franchise first with a double, triple, and a home run, and team's opener for the young rookie for the Guardians over the Royals. It's an 0-2 count now for Ibanez. Kasparis trying to get out of it. Slider will be spit on in the dirt.
A little spinner for Kasparis. He's already at 15 pitches. So if he does get the second out, the belief is that he could get one more release here.
Unless they want to go lefty-lefty in the mix between you're right, between righty-righty for Torres and then Riley Greene. Riley Greene is third. And Ibanez is still trying to fight with all his might. It's still 1-2.
So he is fighting for his batting life so far. A lot of foul balls to count so to extend the sequence. So far, it's a good batting sequence.
95 way up top as Andy Ibanez trying to continue to dig in here. Remember his hit in the postseason against the Astros down the third base line that brought everybody in, and the Tigers got a surprising sweep. I know it ended against Cleveland, but that was something you remember forever. Andy Ibanez played the hero. This one will be a look for Teoscar Hernandez, but it'll go foul.
To see this one go above the foul benches at the wall. See, there was a chance to get that one, but just ran out of room to maneuver.
So Kasparis, one of the righties. Again, they still have Luis Garcia, who they picked up, Dustin May, maybe Kirby Yates, as far as the other righties that they would have at their disposal today, should they wish. 2-2. This is a slider that was just right in the middle of the zone and fouled straight back. Ibanez couldn't get a good piece of it, but this count continues.
Already 8 pitches in this sequence for Andy Ibanez. The next will be the 9th one. This is a good sequence for him.
See if number 77, the former Texas Ranger, can come through. McKinstry's at second. Swing and a miss. Kasparis dusts Ibanez.
It looked good for a moment up until that swing and a miss. You got to know when to swing at the baseball and when not to. As this was going up high, it looked to me as though Ibanez saw this as a fastball, but this looked like a changeup or so.
So runners again on first and second. That has been the story. Then I've been the first sleeve when I write this story, depending on how long it's going to be. That depends on how much the Tigers are going to do. That's a perfect pitch there for Casparius on the outside corner against Torres and a cutter. Make it 0-1.
Torres once again 1 for 3 so far to begin his Tigers tenure. He has a base hit and a run. So far, not bad.
No, it's not. Again, that's hopefully for Tigers fans something you can count on for Gleyber Torres. Again, we mentioned they're going to be able to need it throughout this season. I looked at this as far as the repeat question. I know it's opening day, but do you think the Dodgers are the favorite to repeat? And both the votes right now, I said yes, as this is followed straight back. And Alec, I don't even want to look at this, but I'm going to say it. Tigers 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position and a sac fly.
That's got to change here for the Tigers to get runners driving home. And it starts with Gleyber Torres here.
1 and 2. Casparius trying to get out of a mini jam. Gleyber Torres somehow got a piece of the slider way down low, and we'll do it again.
Now, because Casparius' 25th pitch, and say Torres hits this one, you would believe that it's on to the next reliever for the Dodgers. You put Vezia in and then get Casparius out.
Absolutely, Alec. This is going to be his last batter, I would have to imagine. Gleyber Torres will follow down the third base line. He continues to stay alive. Both Ibanez and Torres have had 1 at-bats.
And up next, if Torres reaches, comes Riley Greene. 324 batting average over the final 35 games last season, which was the third highest in the AL in that span.
See if you can cue into that now. Tigers need it. This one is right at third. Freddie will get the toss over from Muncy. Right to Mookie Betts, steps in the bag, and Casparius does his job. Tigers threaten, do not score. That's been the line of the night. It's Edmonds, Smith, and Muncy next.
So about the Tigers, you will need to get the most out of Skubal in the 6th inning. Make sure that he shuts down the middle of this Dodgers batting order because he did not give any inch here.
No, you can't, Alec, and I'll have to say it like this. It might be Skubal's last inning.
As much as we want to say that this could be a game in which he goes at least 6, maybe 7, the 6th inning could be his last one. We imagine if there's a possibility he could go to 7, but that's not looking likely anymore, even though he had a strong outing.
No, not where the score is right now. And again, the only really blemish was the Teoscar Hernandez 3-run jam. But I can't, and I know you won't either, from the story that we've been able to call today. It really is more along the lines of the Tigers not coming through in scoring position more so than anything else. And they get 0 for 12 now after that Gleyber Torres at bat. I mean, we've had 4 separate times in this game so far, and we're only at the bottom of the 6th, where the Tigers at least had runners on first and second or second and third.
There are multiple times in which that happened, and they've all been left out to dry. That doesn't look so good.
No, it doesn't. And again, we talk about as far as the schedule, you're going to have to go up to T-Mobile Park to play Seattle. Whether or not, we talk about the struggles of their offense. It's still Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Brian Wu. They got one heck of a pitching staff. Luis Castillo. Right now, it's going to be Hancock, Gilbert, and Castillo for the Tigers, and alongside in the late game on the Tuesday, the getaway day game will be Tarek Skubal again. Jackson Jobe will make his debut in the starting rotation against Logan Gilbert on, I believe, whatever day April 1st is. Let me look at the schedule. So that will be on a Tuesday. I might try to cover that one depending on if I'm available as far as the voice side at 9:40 in T-Mobile alongside Cooper Hopkins if he's available. I don't mind seeing this. Nathan McKinnon walking out through the tunnel as the Avalanche gets set to play the Kings on ESPN a little bit later today.
And speaking of Wayne Gretzky records, as Ovechkin chases the famous Gretzky record, another Gretzky record been broken officially. Congratulations, Sidney Crosby, on his 20th point per game season, passing Wayne Gretzky for the most all time.
That's awesome, Alec. I'm happy for Sidney Crosby, and I can say that in the diehard rival between Detroit and Pittsburgh, I have nothing, and I wish nothing but the best for him and Pittsburgh and everybody else. That's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, very cool to hear about the streak being the record being broken. Not the streak, the record being broken. So it's not school. John Brebbia being onto the mound for the Tigers.
So John Brebbia immediately right down to third base side and 1 pitch, 1 out. So again, that's why Alec and I were throwing it out there, and this is not a surprise. Again, we mentioned between opening night, anything else opening day, these starting pitchers do not have the longest leashes yet because they're still working on their arms. So they're going to go ahead and save Tarek Skubal for the rest of this. And you know what, Alec, as we know this very well, Tigers bullpen is pretty darn good. So if they can keep things close enough, Tigers might still have a chance if they can come through with the bats.
Not really a designated closer, but they are utilizing Tyler Holton as a de facto closer if they need that situation.
Tyler Holton is a guy that does everything for the Tigers. He was starting in openers, he was closing, it was middle relief, it was at the end. Like we mentioned, AJ Hinch is just the master scientist of whatever buttons he wants to press. And I know the roster construction, you can talk about that alongside with Chris Silich, but as Brebbia gets the punch out there, that was a beautiful pitch. As he's got 5 pitches and 2 outs. If it wasn't for AJ Hinch and the rest of these Tigers the way that they did last year, they probably weren't even going to make the postseason.
AJ Hinch is the mastermind behind this operation in Detroit. Say what you will about this cheating scandal in Houston, but he is a man of his word, and he knows how to. Oh my goodness, what is that call? What is that call?
We've been seeing some ones that are starting to get a little crazy. I imagine these umps have some dinner plans.
I mean, if they do have dinner plans, do we blame them? It's getting close to the nighttime in Los Angeles, and they want to probably get out of the stadium as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think for the LA side, if I remember correctly, it's about to turn 6 p.m. over there, 3-hour time difference from where we are on the East Coast for me, as Muncie waiting on the 1-2. But it looks like Brebbia, he might be able to get 3 outs on 9 pitches. We'll see if he can do so right here.
It'll be a nice sight to see for John Brebbia, the first reliever off the mound, off the bullpen.
Hey, if you're not gonna call that one, Alec, where did that one miss? That was awfully close.
50-50. It is a judgment call. It could be determined as bottom left corner exact or something else. Well, that is no question.
John Brebbia, that is a pretty good start there in the Tigers uniform. He gets 3 outs on 10 pitches and a couple of punchies.
Probably has earned himself another sequence or 2 by the looks of that, so before the next reliever gets called to the mound. But so far, so good for John Brebbia. He got 2 strikeouts on the first 2 of the first 3 sequences as a Tiger.
Yeah, it looked pretty darn good there for Brebbia. He was one of the pieces that were alongside in that bullpen. Again, if that just gives AJ Hinch more ammunition to use, then we'll see what happens. I know I got a little bit of ways here before that game on the 5th starter for Logan Gilbert and Jackson Jobe. I am very interested, Alec, what happens alongside with Jackson Jobe. Admittedly, we know that he's still a kid. He was drafted out of high school about 3.5 seasons ago. But supposedly, he's got the most electric arm of all. Tigers were rated coming into this season as the #1 farm system in all of baseball. So I am excited for the young man, but I do expect him to take some lumps. So the only thing I would question for fans, please don't expect him to come out like Justin Verlander.
It's a process. He doesn't come swinging right out the gate. It doesn't work that way. It's a process that takes slowly and gradually time to develop. So not often you see you guys making instant impacts. It takes time most of the time. And for Jackson Jobe, it's going to take time.
I think so too, Alec. And again, I make that same comparison, and I just talked about a little bit earlier today. Really, the only other one that needed adjustment alongside Verlander was probably Paul Skeens.
Paul Skeens, he spent some time over at AAA before he came up to the major leagues last year. And he quickly became the ace for the Pirates as soon as he stepped onto the mound. He's that good. He's a special talent. Which must be out that the Pirates are not doing a lot to help him out. I mean, come on, man. Help him.
Yes, I agree with you.
Future.
I want to do a game, Alec, and again, we'll have to send me some messages across X. We can go back and forth. I want to do a game in which you and I work that Skeens pitches.
Yeah, I want to look at that too. If Paul Skeens does pitch, then I'd be keying in that game. It doesn't matter if the Pirates have a winning or losing record.
Right.
I actually want to cover a game in which Skeens pitches. That would be a treat.
No, I'm with you there too because honestly, I never got a chance to watch him live while doing a game. I've saw some of the highlights here, so I think you and I definitely need to put that on the bingo card this year. We'll definitely get that done, and then we'll figure out, and alongside hopefully for Ovechkin and the record chase for it. As we go to the 7th, you get set to take it away. It's Riley Greene against Vesia.
Riley Greene swings on the first pitch. It is a slider dead center, and Vesia reports the first strike. But nonetheless, we did see some electric pitchers in the past. That includes school here tonight and in the wild card. Also Spencer Strider as well. But Paul Skeens watching it in would be a treat. Vesia delivers, and Greene swings one towards the foul stands left side.
And as far as MLB 25, the show, he shares a triple cover with Gunnar Henderson and Ellie De La Cruz, does Paul Skeens.
That is outstanding business for Paul Skeens to share a triple cover with Gunnar Henderson and Ellie De La Cruz. De La Cruz did have a couple of hits for the Cincinnati Reds up against the San Francisco Giants. Vesia punches South Green. Solid piece of business for the man with a 1.76 ERA last year.
Yeah, Vesia is pretty legit. When you go back across this pitching staff, especially in the bullpen side for the Dodgers, again, they have a lot of injuries, but you still got Blake Trinan, you got Tanner Scott, you got Vesia there in the mix of it. Kirby Yates now that they added, they still got a lot of guys that can get outs.
A lot of lefties from last year's bullpen, and that the only righty was Anthony Honda. He's also part of this bullpen and one of the holdovers. 1-0 on the count as this went down low. The Dodgers last year went closer by committee between Evan Phillips, Michael Kopech, and come playoff time, Blake Trinan. Strike one on the slider, bottom center.
Let's see if Spencer Torkelson actually gets to get a swing off today.
Yeah, 3 walks and a run. You wonder if Torkelson will finally get the swing that he's been looking for. 3 walks is something that's not heard about a lot. Torkelson does swing, but this is a foul tip backwards.
Yeah, regardless of what does happen with Torque throughout the year, I know the fans get frustrated because you got a number 1 pick and you want those to hit. You'll take the 3-walk day. I think that's going to get him a lot of bonus points alongside the clubhouse. And nights like that are what will keep him up here.
It will. This part this core. You wonder how long the leash is going to be for the former number 1
Ooh.
pick. Torkelson delivers one.
Yes!
Field. So long. The Tigers are a big one.
I don't mean to jump all over there, Alec. I'm just so happy for Spencer Torkelson. What a day for the young man. 3 walks and then a take. You can't do any better.
That's got to get the confidence back up for the youngster and AJ Hinch to have him keep onto this roster. That's a confidence booster for Torkelson.
Alec, that was not a cheapie. That's 423 feet to left field.
Outstanding. It's headed toward the bullpen as well. That was a missile from Torkelson. Emmanuel Margot is having himself a day. Judgment call. And I think he can get away with that, but if it's a few inches outside.
Yeah, I guess if you're the Tigers order and AJ Hinch, you don't really mess with 4 and 5, do you, as far as tomorrow? Because they've been carrying Torkelson and Margot.
Margot, he does get a swing onto this ball towards the right side, but it's going to the count. But what a day for Torkelson.
Man.
And you have the home run that gets the Tigers within 1. Yeah, the Tigers, they are not doing that good runners in scoring position, but that one has to get them back in some semblance of an order. And if Margot can deliver here, even better. He swings at it, but it is nothing. It's foul.
And you're absolutely right, Alec. And I keep going back on as far as Torkelson. I mean, you're looking at the eye. There's some of the stuff that he wants to maybe not swing at as much as made the adjustment, but you don't just hit a ball 430-some feet. I mean, that's some serious power.
A lot of power on that bat. And for a guy that usually relies on runs, Not often do you see that. The first home run of the Tigers season to Torkelson. 1-2 for Margo as he takes one downstairs. As we have a fired up Tigers bench at the dugout. 1-2 to Margo. Margo fouls one on a tap backwards. He'll stay alive.
I got to say, regardless of whatever happens today between Torkelson and Margot, they've been very, very good. If the rest of this team can maybe find something with runners in scoring position and the Tigers bullpen continues to do what they can do, maybe the Tigers can find a way to get this victory, but it's still 4-3.
They found ways multiple times last year. And Margo punches out. Vezia does the job, gets the second strikeout.
That's just a challenge fastball there at 92. I'm surprised that Margot was a little bit late, but I guess I can't blame him. He's already got a couple hits and a sacrifice RBI, but Bessie has got 2 punch-outs already.
And even with 2 punch-outs, that one home run from Torkelson gets the Tigers light. Now see if Cole Keith, who is 0 for 3 on the day, can bring some more light. Not now. Bessie brings it dead center on the slider.
Yeah, for the young man Cole Keith, you don't want to see him press too much early. But I mean, that's a slider that had hit me all over. You got to take a swing at it.
You have to. For this young first baseman, that was a key part of this Tigers core. 0-1, way outside on the slider, and it's even up at 1.
Am I seeing that right? Manny Machado 2 doubles, but 2 stolen bases? Since when?
Oh, I haven't seen that just yet. But we have to check on that later on. 4-3 Dodgers. Torkelson brings the Tigers to 1. Bessie with 2 punch-outs. Big cut and a miss.
That's crazy to me, Alec, as I'm looking at it. Bessie is only throwing 91, but yet there's a lot of Tigers hitters that are swinging very late.
And a lot of them. You want to get more swings at it on time. Make sure you get your batting practice up and get them ready. That's downstairs on the slider, even at 2.
So curveball nowhere near the zone. Cole Keith 0 for 3. He was one of the guys called up early last year as far as his bat, not so much defensively. See if Cole Keith can avoid an 0 for 4.
2-2 here. 0 for 4. Oh my goodness.
That's just not a very good at bat there for Cole Keith, I have to say it. I mean, he had a couple pitches right down the middle that he should have been able to hit, and then he takes a strike looking at 92. Hey, I'm not going to blame Alex Vesia for getting 3 strikeouts. That's good work by him. But when you're topping out at 91 and 92, you got to be able to catch up to it and do some work.
At the very least, those are manageable balls to hit.
Yes.
And the pitches are topping out at 91, 92. But sometimes the first looks can be deceiving. That Vesia makes up for those low velocity pitches with some adjustment, some curvature on them. Throwing in a slider or 2 in between, and throwing in another curveball. You think those mixtures would do well for Vesia because that arsenal is helping out.
Yeah, I can say it honestly, Alec, too, and to your point, maybe that some of the arm delivery is messing up the Tigers and this and that. But as it is, you and I both agree. When you got 91, 92, I mean, that's the stuff that you get in batting practice for the most part. You got to be ready to take some swings. At least Spencer Torkelson's been ready. He's got 3 walks, got a home run. Tigers trying to draw again within 1. We'll see what we can do here as we get close to stretch time. It's bottom 7.
It is bottom 7. Time to stretch indeed. So looking at Manny Machado, 3 runs, 1 RBI tonight with the Padres on 2 of 3 batting. People talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. Don't forget about Machado. He brings that same impact as Tatis does.
Yeah, and again, the stolen bases was what really surprised me there because Machado's not exactly fleet of foot. But if he can do that, then that's going to also help them as well. But for the Padres, we talk about the Dodgers all the time, as we should. But the Padres and even the Diamondbacks, again, the Diamondbacks try to load up. Hey, Diamondbacks made a big splash. Again, Jordan Montgomery, we'll see what ends up happening with him from last year. But they went and got Corbin Burns.
So the Diamondbacks, they are looking to catch up to the Padres. The Diamondbacks did have everything go right last year except for one thing, that being pitching depth,
right?
Especially the bullpen. It was bad for them. And the fact that Corbin Carroll had a down first half last season didn't help either.
No, and Alec, I'm going to say this is plain as day. You and I are expecting a bounce back year for Corbin Carroll, correct?
Yeah, a bounce back year for Corbin Carroll in year number 3. And as a leadoff hitter, he would be expected to deliver. So you see the Dodgers getting interviewed one by one from the MLB on ESPN crew. Big swing and a miss for Andy Piles, who was already over 2. But guess who was up on deck?
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani getting a look at the camera shots now. Brian Hanafy is the new pitcher for the Tigers.
Hanafy, another reliever for Detroit. So the Tigers are already using the relievers that are already in their arsenal. And Rojas swings on this one. This actually Miguel Rojas. I read that one wrong. I thought it was Paez at first. I guess it was one off on the order. But Hanafy, 184 ERA last year in 21 games played. So that's what the Tigers brought him in for, pitching support. Those underrated moves that can help out a bullpen. Not only of Hanafy, but also you think of Tommy Kahnle, who comes to mind.
The change-up god.
That streak of consecutive changes thrown. And here's Rojas. Routes one to second, and he is put away by Gleyber.
I mean, that was crazy last year, but we watched some of that in the World Series, Alec. You know how a coin is supposed to have 2 sides with heads and tails? It only has one side for Kahnle, change-up.
What are the odds that the coin will land on heads for 64 consecutive times?
That's what it does for somebody like him. And alongside his Shohei will sit on deck. You still got Paez there. But for the Tigers, A.J. Hinch can take any dart, throw it on the wall, and call their bullpen. They usually can be counted on to get outs.
2 straight strikes for Hanafy, and right after John Brebbia. So 2 consecutive high leverage relievers for A.J. Hinch, Brebbia, and Hanafy. The 0-2 for Hanafy is wide outside towards Paez.
And I know Vesia able to get 3 strikeouts and giving up 1 run, but I will say this for John Brebbia, for seeing it for the first time, I was pretty impressed in his inning of work with a couple of strikeouts.
And a very good hand-eye coordination for Paez to see that one go downstairs. So he decided not to swing at that one. Inning number 2, Dodgers lead 4-3. Alec Nava, John Ott. Here's a 2-2. Paez fouls one to left towards the ball boy at left field.
I will say this for Dave Roberts. He knows better than I as a World Series champion multiple times, but Andy Paez is putting himself some of the better at-bats of the game, has he not, Alec? He's made all these pitchers work.
He has. He made his guys work. And Paez will punch out. Excellent job by Brian Hanafy. Gets the punch out and will face Ohtani.
Yeah, he just really decided because Skubal couldn't get on Andy Paez as far as all of that. Hanafy just went way inside, and Paez could do nothing but commit.
So, Joey Ohtani, who just got recently added as a Fortnite skin. A little fun there if you're a video gamer. See, now you can get, and that was a Fortnite skin. You'll see this one go to the left line.
I don't even play Fortnite, but I would sign in just to see what the Ohtani skin looks like.
That would be cool to get. I mean, even though I'm a video gamer myself, I don't have the Fortnite skins in the MLB. Sinker goes a little bit to the right for Hanafy. Last year at home is an outstanding 1.103 OPS with 28 home runs. Both of them being Dodger Stadium records. Oh, what the fans felt that foul ball.
Those are video game numbers for Shohei Ohtani. I can't believe that's real life.
I can't believe it either, John. It's unbelievable that the numbers and the stats that he's putting up, and he's already in the prime of his career. That's how amazing he is. Best player in the league. And even when he's not pitching, as he takes ball 2, even when he's not pitching, he's just as dangerous on the bat. It's very rare to have someone who can pitch at elite level and bat at elite level nowadays. 2-2 downstairs, so it's a full count.
Yeah, any dreams that you have being a collegiate player, a young standout being a two-way, you just can't imagine how hard it is to pitch at an elite level and bat at an elite level, as you said. It's pretty much impossible, but he makes it look easy.
Payout pitch for Ohtani. Ohtani delivers one. Towards left field. Backing up is Greene. Goodbye. It's showtime.
Are you not entertained with Showtime? You got Hanks, you got Magic Johnson, you got all these other celebrities there. Alec, I mean, you and I do a game, get a chance to watch Shohei Ohtani. We've seen him a ton of times now. Pretty much every game we expect him to go deep, do we not?
Yeah, it's an expectation these days. And even though he was up and down his first playoff appearance, he did what he had to do. He had a home run his first playoff game, and he does the business that he has to do. We expect that he goes deep and that he entices crowd with these deep balls. Ball one to the left, but this crowd is energized on that Ohtani home run. Rob Lowe is excited.
Yeah, I mean, really, what are you going to do on the other side if you're the Tigers? Are you going to blame Brian Hanafy? I don't think so, because what do you want to do? Do you want to walk the face Mookie Betts? Teoscar Hernandez already took you deep. Ohtani's got the protection in the lineup, Alec, and you got to pitch to him.
Pick your poison as it is. And Mookie grounds one is short. He's going to be put away, but the Dodgers out front by 2 again, heading into the 8th. Thanks to that man, Shohei Ohtani. It's lights out here at Dodgerland.
I'll say this, Alec, honestly, even as a Tigers fan, I am not mad at all as far as watching Shohei Ohtani. I just appreciate the greatness. I think that's all that we can do. And I know this is probably a few years in the future, Alec. I know the first time I got a chance to do the World Baseball Classic, and it was Shohei Ohtani pitching against Mike Trout for the final out. I think if there is any way that we can swing that together, you and I got to do the World Baseball Classic.
Whenever that is, I would not wait to cover the World Baseball Classic. It would be exciting. A USA-Japan matchup, sign me up.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for on that side. Again, it's the best of the best from Japan. Again, USA, you could talk about maybe some bullpen guys that you think that you want to add. You still know you're probably going to see Mookie Betts and Mike Trout. It's going to be interesting seeing Mike Trout play right field. I know he's got a lot of money alongside with the Angels, but there is part of me, and I know he took the money, and I don't blame him because you have to do that, but there's part of me that just really wishes to see Mike Trout in the postseason.
Yeah, that's the wish here. I was hoping that Mike Trout would be going to a playoff contending team. That would be the hope if we were to make it to the postseason. If so, then and that would be a treat to watch for all the talent that he had in the past. The question is if he could get back to old form because he suffered from injury after injury over the last few years. And the Angels don't have the insurance to back him up, unfortunately.
No, and I mean some of those moves that they made with Anthony Rendon, they gave him a ton of money. I know Albert Pujols had a couple good years there, but they gave him a ton of money that didn't work out. It seems like everything that Marty Moreno and all those guys are trying to throw at the wall never worked, and it's really shameful for me to have to say this, but I just don't think Trout ever got the team he deserved around him.
No, I had the same thinking too. Trout didn't really get the team that he wanted around him throughout his career with the Angels. It's been almost a decade since he's last been to the playoffs, and those were the years when he had Albert Pujols with him. Those were the best shots with the Angels, and not a lot was done with it. Unfortunately, if Trout were to go back to the playoffs, he would believe that he would go to a team like, say, the Phillies.
And I don't want to get in Trout's head, but I do want to just ask you one more question. How do you think he felt when he saw Ohtani go across the street?
I feel he got to say that he has to feel a little sad, and
yeah,
I feel bad for him saying that.
So Zach McKinstry, again, he was the lift for Baez, as Alec mentioned a couple innings ago. It'd be McKinstry, Rogers, and Kreidler. Kreidler had an A-plus catch earlier in this game, and then about an inning ago, he just ran out of space at the wall for Teoscar Hernandez. So it is Torkelson and Ohtani exchanging home runs, makes it a 5-3 lead for the Dodgers. And that might be well enough. McKinstry with a good swing. This is going to get him at least a double. This drives Edman back to the wall. Now it's stuck in against the wall. McKinstry does have some speed. Does he try to go 3? He does! Leadoff triple!
Wow. A leadoff triple for Zach McKinstry in the place of Bobby Baez. Alone, how do you do from McKinstry? Something to potentially turn things around and get the Tigers back into this game. On the first hits off of the new Dodger closer, few pitches. And the game is far from over. Don't forget about that.
You got to get this run in now for Detroit. There is no excuse here. You got to make this at least 5-4. But from a leadoff triple, you want to be able to do more damage. So Jake Rogers got to lock in. Again, Tanner Scott, one of the very best relievers that we got in the mix of Miami and San Diego. He was absolutely unhittable. And Jake Rogers, no hope on that fastball, making 0-2.
22 saves back to his time with the Marlins, acquired by the Padres in their all-in push, used as a setup man for Robert Suarez, and now he's used as a setup man for what I believe is going to be Blake Trice in such a case.
Yeah, and it's another one of those situations, Alec, where the rich get richer as far as the Dodgers, because Tanner Scott was one of the biggest prizes of all, and he ends up in Dodger blue.
That's great, which leads to the question, how much do these GMs and owners really want to spend?
That is a dot from Tanner Scott, and all Rogers can do is go grab some pine and sit down with a strikeout.
As you mentioned, rich get richer. If that latest pitch from Tanner Scott is the example, this is what the Dodgers signed up for when they got him, and his services to be precise and key with his pitches and to close out high leverage situations. This is a high leverage situation. Even though he's used as a setup man, he's delivering so far in the second plate appearance.
So Kerry Carpenter in a mix of a left on left. Again, he was already on the pinch hit side of it. So we'll see if he can do something again and come through. This is not normally the side that he does. That was a lift for Ryan Kreidler for Kerry Carpenter. It is 0-1. Fastball way down low. Again, Kerry Carpenter, no stranger to make this a 5-5 game. He can instantly get a home run. But again, one more time, I got to look at this disgustingly. 0 for 13 and a sac fly with runners in scoring position for the Tigers. You could argue that they probably should win this game if they even come through at all, as this one in on the hands will be followed straight back, make it 1-2.
That line is killing the Tigers under momentum, taking the lead at any point.
Yeah, there really isn't much to say. I mean, the Dodgers, again, they've played well. They've got the lead, but Tigers should have done a heck of a lot more. Can Kerry Carpenter come through? 1-2. It's a good swing for Kerry Carpenter, and that is going to at least score a run. Pages has this one deep before the warning track, and it's a one-run game again.
2 stat flies, even though there's that 0-14 stat line of runners in scoring position, but at least it brings the Tigers within 1. Kerry Carpenter, or sac fly, delivers. But you can exchange that out for a run any time you want to get back within 1 here. It could be even sweeter for a home run, but Tanner Scott said no.
You know how happy I would be? I would say this as a Tigers fan if Spencer Torkelson gets last at bats for the Tigers and ends up winning the game. He's got 3 home runs, he's got 3 walks, and he's got a home run. It's Andy Ibanez now with 2 outs. Tigers last season, 15 wins when trailing in the 8th or later, tied with the most in Major League Baseball once at the Mets. Again, Parker Meadows was part of a couple of those. This one dive bombs in the dirt, but nobody on base. Will Smith has had a rough game behind the plate.
He has. There's been multiple times in which you see those balls bounce off the dirt and then go off a fence. So no hope in him blocking that off. And if Ibanez reaches, you have Gleyber up next.
Andy Ibanez trying to split the gap. This one toward the track, and Edman makes it just a couple steps shy of the wall. Tigers do get 1. It'll be Teoscar, Freddie, and Tommy, 3, 4, 5, due up next.
In a 1-run game, if you want the Tigers to keep this a 1-run game and be in a position where they can take the lead in the 9th inning, and you have to make the most of it here with your pitching matchups. You want to wonder who is going to be sent onto the mound for this 8th inning, because you already used up 2 relievers on the sequence, those being John Brevia and Ryan Hannafy. If you're going to make the best bets, then you could set out someone like Will Best or Bill Brisky for that situation, or Tommy King.
Yeah, you can do that too, and you're right. I was thinking about this. You're probably right, Alec, but I would even say right now, if you have to, considering where you are in the batting order, Tyler Holt might have to be called upon.
Closer by committee, if you would think it that way, because there's no listed closer on the Tigers, but Holton is the de facto closer of this team, but he's what I would call a utility man for pitchers.
Yes.
That he can start, that he can be a setup man, and he can close.
This is a basketball score, but I want to go across because I don't think I've ever seen that number. The Pacers beat the Wizards 162 to 109. They dropped 162 points.
I guess they wanted to pull off some steam after they let in that buzzer beater from LeBron James on the tip the other night.
That's crazy. That's just such a high scoring. That's not OT or anything else. And I know we're doing a Tigers game, but I do want to ask Alec just a little bit as we get a little bit closer into the basketball season as well. How hopeful should I be with the Detroit Pistons?
And you can be hopeful with them to make the playoffs. I would say at least I can see the Pistons as a 4, 5, 6 seed or around those areas. Realistically, those 3 seeds I'd be content with for the Pistons. I think Detroit can beat the Bucks in a 7-game series.
Man, you are making me feel pretty good because I was just going to ask you that in the mix of the Bucks or the Knicks or anything else, if they could actually win a series. I feel like from what I've seen, I feel like they can. Would I be disappointed if they don't? No. I'd be happy if they just stay in out of the play-in and make the postseason. But I'm glad that JB Bickerstaff has come over and Cade Cunningham looks really good. That team still has some work to do, but I feel like they're in a good spot with the salary cap and things look good.
Yeah, things are looking good for the future on this turnaround that JB Bickerstaff is leading. Hey, Benny, take it away, John.
So this will be my last chance before Alec will get set to close because I don't think we're going to get any sort of extra innings. Maybe I'll speak it into existence, but we'll see what ends up happening. I'm just happy to be joined alongside Alec Nava. And honestly, Alec, I'm thankful we've had such a good, competitive, close game. And you were right, Bro Brisky on the mound. This one goes foul.
It was Brisky wearing the number 4, which is a rare number to be worn for a pitcher, but sometimes that happens. But he's one of the top-end relievers for the Tigers. The 3.59 ERA could be a little misleading with the season that he had down the stretch last year.
I agree with you completely because he's been a starter, an opener. He's been a flamethrower out of the bullpen. Again, it's another one of those things with AJ Hinch and all these relievers. You can do whatever you want. He uses them all the time. This will be a jam shot towards center. A little bit of trouble with it, though, is McKinstry, but Hernandez not the most fleet of foot. It's 1 up, 1 down.
Good work by McKinstry in picking that one up. Almost bobbled that one, but nonetheless does a good job sticking with this ball and then making the throw all the way to first base to put away Teoscar. Teoscar is not really the fastest runner on the field, but nonetheless he saw it in his own business when hitting the long balls. He had Scuba with a new watch that says 18 wins, 239 ERA, 228 strikeouts, pitching triple crown.
And I like that on the other side of the etch it says, thanks, Jake Rogers, as far as being the framer there alongside Tarek Skubal. So pretty good shout out there. This is a pitch right down the middle for Freddie Freeman, but Bo Brisky going to live on a 1-1 count.
I don't blame Freddie for taking a swing at that. You got to take swings over the center of the area. But that was a little too late on the swing, but he had the right idea.
I'm just hoping, as far as a Tigers fan, that I don't see Freddie Freeman awaken. It is still early in the year because anything that he showed you in the World Series in the postseason, anytime Freddie Freeman stepped up to the dish, he was a threat to score runs.
Wait, you mean World Series mode Freddie Freeman?
I mean, that's anything. If I say video game easy mode, that's a disjustice to the video game. I mean, this guy was a freak.
As severe justice to video game, he's a cheat code.
So 3-1, Freddie Freeman takes a grand cut. He would have been able to walk, but now it's a full count.
He went golfing that time. And sometimes, like I said, you have to take on the pitches that are coming towards your direction, towards the strike zone, but sometimes you have to look and know when not to swing at it, unless if you find a pitch that he liked. Freddie thought that he liked that one, but he got fooled out.
Bo Brisky, 95. Freeman gets underneath it. Riley Greene will call everybody off. Or no, excuse me. That's Kerry Carpenter, the left field side. So Riley switched over probably toward center. And Freddie Freeman, can of corn to left field.
Yeah, Kerry Carpenter's at left field now. Riley Greene's at center. You got that right. So Carpenter did call up everyone at the left field side to put away Freddie. And now fifth man in the order, Tommy Edman up against Bo Brisky. This is going to be the interesting battle.
Try to keep this as quiet as you can for Bo Brisky. Make sure to keep the scoreline where it is. Give the Tigers a shot. 89 swings right to the changeup. Make it 0-1.
The former St. Louis Cardinal of a good piece of business last season with the 237 batting average, 6 home runs. He does have a solo home run, but he's been turning up the home runs ever since he got to LA.
Good changeup there for Brisky. On the inside black, make it 0-2.
So Edman, and he can use his legs when he's on the base paths, and that is if he does get a hit here. We have a timeout used by the Dodgers on this sequence.
As you said, Alec, Blake Trinan gets set for the closing duties.
He can get big righty here, and it's no surprise that I would expect Trinan to be the closer after Tanner Scott was used up in the 8th inning.
Perfect pitch for Brisky, gets the job done, and the Tigers now try to go to the top 9, see what they can do. Gleyber Torres, Greene, and Torkelson, the man of the hour.
Torkelson has been going strong with those 3 walks and the home run. If he does get the Tigers in front or even win this game for the Tigers, I guess everyone in Detroit who has been ripping him after being picked first overall and not living up to the hype, everyone who picked on him, this could be the start. And if he does deliver here these types of performances later on for the season on a consistent basis, I guess it's time for apology letters.
Yeah, and I would be the first one to issue it, though I've never really bagged on him. Again, I'd always try to be fair. I don't like bagging on players, but it is tough when you got the expectations of being a number 1. They want you to be Mike Trout right out of the gate. They want you to be Bryce Harper. It doesn't work that way. It's really hard to figure out stuff in the major leagues. You get sent down, sent up, do all that. You know nobody tries to work harder than somebody like that, and I would be happy to see the Torkelson revenge tour, so I hope he takes it to heart.
Of course, because prospects are not a surefire thing.
No.
They take time to develop. If you look at the Orioles, they had a boatload of top-end prospects, and they developed them nicely all throughout their rebuild. Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Colton Cowser, to name the 3 most prominent prospects that were underpulled and became MLB regulars now.
Absolutely. Again, you think about some of that stuff as you mentioned, and I saw it across that big slanted score between the Blue Jays and the Orioles. Tyler O'Neill went deep. Tyler O'Neill was a pretty good pickup there alongside Gary Sanchez for the Baltimore Orioles. You know, they want to do more damage than they've been able to do. They just kind of ran into some buzzsaws before with the Texas Rangers when they won the World Series a couple of years ago. Orioles haven't gotten what they wanted to get done. They lost Corbin Burns, but still a very good team that wants to do damage.
They got Zach Eflin at last year's deadline. You'd imagine that they would pick up an ace pitcher by this year's trade deadline if they can go on with this momentum.
Yeah.
They're a good team. You want to wonder if they can take that next step. A 12-2 win over the Blue Jays. Wow, talk about a statement.
Yeah, because the Red Sox, one of the best run-scoring teams. The Yankees have been really good. The AL East is loaded. Hey, the AL East, we talk about the NL West between the Padres, Dodgers, and Diamondbacks. AL East and NL West are not too fun to deal with.
Not to mention that NL East has the Phillies, Mets, and Braves.
Yeah.
Big cut. And it's one strike here. Blake tried to get the first save. 193 ERA. He had 3 saves from last year's postseason and had a 21 pitch sequence in the 8th inning. And is batted over to right center, right by second base. And already, Gleyber Torres with his own say of words.
So I will say this is the moniker for Jason Minetti that does the play-by-play for the Tigers is the Gritty Tigers won't quit. That's what they used, and don't let the Tigers get hot. We'll see what they can do in the 9th inning here, Alec. Maybe, just maybe, find a way, as that was just through the dive of the infield for Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, right by Miguel Rojas and onto first base for Gleyber Torres. That was huge for them. And ball 1 as this went downstairs on the sweeper for Trinan, who is the de facto closer for tonight. But for the Tigers, to quote Jalen Brown, they're like, don't let us get one.
That's all it is right now. We'll see what happens. They got the bats to do it at the part of their order.
Oh, a pickoff attempt. Trinan had the right idea to try to pick off Torres. He reached back on first safety.
I'll say this, if Gleyber Torres goes anywhere, I'd be absolutely shocked.
And Riley Greene, he can deliver on the base pass. A double could bring Torres home for the tying run. And this is...
No!
Oh, no!
I'm sorry. That's more than generous. That's about 6 inches off the plate.
That's not a strike. Come on, man. But Riley Greene, he still led the team in runs, hits, home runs, RBI, and walks last year. He fouls this one, a sweeper. And all assurance, he needs to foul tip that one because that would have been strike three. That was not a strike on the previous one. I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't. And he tried to take that sweeper and knock it out of Dodger Stadium. He's up against it 1-2 now.
Your runner up first is Torres. Greene.
Oh.
Left line for Trinan.
That's a perfect pitch. Again, Riley Greene's not going to like the last one. I don't think anyone would, but that's right there. And you got to call it. Good work for Trinan.
Yeah, that was a generous call for the Dodgers. That was a gift. And Riley Greene, if he gets upset about that one, he has every right to be. Some of these calls have been grounded flush. 1 up, 2 to go here for the Dodgers. Trying to use the first disengagement. Torres reaches back safely again.
I don't care if Spencer Torkelson walks or however he does it. Try to get on base again. I know it's a lot to ask. He's already done so 4 times, Alec. See what he can do.
3 walks in a home run. Torkelson did not go. He retracted on time on the sweeper. It is 1-0 to count.
I see this Red Wings trying to make a run at the Sens. It's 4-3 with 38 seconds left.
As we speak of runs, the Tigers are trying to get their run on the Dodgers right now. Up against Blake Trinan here. Torkelson didn't go, but it was on the right line on the sinker. He evens it up at 1.
It was a dirty pitch. Put the sinker on the left to punch out Riley Greene and inside black against Torque. Make it 1-1.
Better night for the Dodgers, but the Tigers are looking to spoil the party. Torkelson did so for a moment, but Ohtani brought the Dodgers back on their feet. 1-1. Torkelson fouls this one up high and behind. 1-2.
I got to tell you, Alec, I'm loving the swings today from Torque. Looked like he wanted to be right on that sweeper. It's hard to go ahead and get a pitch that's moving that much. It's now 1-2 as he digs back in.
9 pitches into the night for Trinan as he looks at first. Does he use that second disengagement here? No, he won't. And Torkelson sees this one go very wide. It's 2-2.
This time I can say it. It was a very good block there alongside for Will Smith. You don't want to give Gleyber Torres another 90 feet.
No, you don't, because if this one goes well wide, then that means Torres will go to second, and if he is lucky, he'll get it at 180 feet in total. And Torres, it goes to second base without a throw.
I definitely told you. I thought earlier I'd be surprised if he goes at all. Gleyber Torres, that's a heads-up play. Now, if they want to, they can just walk Spencer Torkelson. I'm not saying that they will, but that opens up the possibility with a full count.
That leads to the payoff. Now comes that dreaded over streak with the runners in scoring position. Torres is going to try again. And Torkelson fouls, so Torres is going to have to stay put at second.
Alec, AJ Hinch is really trusting Spencer Torkelson right now. I like it. Did we really expect him to steal second and then take off for third?
Who expected this out of Torres? He wanted to get the head start towards third base as soon as Trinan was winding up. But nonetheless, that was a good piece of work for Torres to get the legs moving. Does he get the legs moving again? No, but Torkelson will draw 4.
You know what? Some people might say it's small because it's just 1 hit with a home run, but 4 walks? Alec, I've never seen that before, and it's not like any of those were intentional. He worked so hard in the box between the mix of Snell, Trinan, and all of that Casparius. That is unbelievable work for Torkelson.
Unbelievable. We're seeing the unthinkable unfold before our very eyes. If the Tigers can start this season with a come from behind win, gritty Tide style like they did last year with the or later, what tied them with the Mets for the most in the season last year. Already they mean business, and now they're up to a 24% chance of winning. It's only going up from now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I saw Trey Sweeney starting to get warm. I don't know if they really want to take out Manuel Margot, but Trey Sweeney is going to get the at-bat of his young season right now, Alec. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to come through, but this would be one hell of a sight if he did.
It would be. There would be I don't know if this is a leverage situation because Manuel Margot broke the hot hand earlier here in this game. We'll see what Trey Sweeney can do. Righty against righty. Well, righty against lefty, I meant. So Sweeney will get started here. Torres at second. Torkelson at first. Sweeney delivers one to right. Oh, that was so close to being a fair ball.
Man, that would have scored at least one run and get 110 miles an hour off the bat.
Look, that was so close on the liner towards the right field line, but just missed by several inches. Almost was first pitch, first swing, could have been Tua. Sweeney fouls again on the sweeper. So trying his previous side relief here, seeing that Sweeney's down on 0-2 count.
I didn't expect this game, Alec, admittedly, to be so darn competitive. I'm glad that we've been able to do this one. Try to avoid the double play is all you can do, but it's 0-2 right now, and Trinan's in the driver's seat.
So far, so good. Runners at first and second. No swing. It went downstairs on the sweeper.
That one not close. A good job there for Trey Sweeney to lay off. Again, that's not so easy to do right off the bench when you know you want to come through.
Yeah, on this spot, the Tigers can pull out this win. They can certainly do so. Torres standing pat at second base. He's deciding to go back to second as Trident thought about throwing to second to catch him off guard.
And if we get to it, Colt Keith would be next, and he's not had a good night at all. So I wonder if A.J. Hinch would press the button again.
1-2 to Sweeney. And he decides not to swing at it. Fastball went upstairs.
Well, a lot of these pitches have been pretty close for the Tigers to be able to lay off, and they're trying to come through in a leverage situation. Look at Dave Roberts, look at A.J. Hinch. Tense moments.
2-2, and Trident, who was just coming off the biggest gamble of his life in the World Series. Swing and a miss. 2 down, 1 to go for the Dodgers.
Blake Trinan with the second strikeout, none bigger than that. Dodgers one batter away from winning this one 5-4. And if they do so, it'll be the story of the night. Tigers just can't come through with the runners in scoring position. They had a chance to win this game outright, and they still do. But that's what's really going to hurt them tonight if they don't come through.
And it all comes down to the bat of Colt Keith, unless if A.J. Hinch pulls him in favor of a batter with a bigger leverage spot. 18 pitches in. Blake Trident going to go for a longer roll here in this ninth inning. Going up against Colt Keith, who's 0 for 4. He's not having a good night, but if there's any moment that he can deliver, he should deliver here. Ball 1 as the sweeper was outside.
Almost feels shameful for me to say this, Alec. I'm so happy to work with you, but I feel like I've been riding a roller coaster. This is just game one.
A roller coaster of emotions. Not the roller coaster that people want to ride. 0-1. Oh, way upstairs for Trident, but Will Smith does a good job tracking that. 2-0.
2-0 count. Colt Keith, I know he hasn't come through today, but I would say swing big, my friend, even on a 2-0. Try to be confident. We know he's got power. He could put one into the gap.
Heart rate's rising here in Los Angeles on both teams. 2-0 on the way. Now it's 3-0. The Tigers in a position to load the bases.
Yeah, what do you want to do here? Because Zach McKinstry has already won for one off the bench with a walk. And if you're Colt Keith, I guess probably considering it's 0 for 4, that he might just take a pitch here, Alec.
The Tigers cannot afford a sac fly. If doing so, that will be an out by any regards. No matter what, because it's 2 outs on the count. Torres at second. Torkelson at first. The 3-0. Trident finds some stride. Strike 1 inside.
Yeah, I think he had to do that if you're Colt Keith. Again, 0 for 14. Runners in scoring position. 2 sac flies. Tigers down to their last breath. 3-1. I still think if you're Colt Keith, you got to take a swing if you like it.
And he does. This is pursued after at the foul line of right field and caught by Freeman. And so
Yes, they do. Dodgers deserve the victory because the Tigers couldn't come through. First 3-0 starts in 2016. But I got to say this now. Colt Keith 0 for 5. That pitch was not close. They got him inside the kitchen. He could have walked the bases loaded for Zach McKinstry. Easy. He went to take a swing at it. It was nowhere close to a strike. And the Tigers, I know it's one game. It's kind of almost the same moniker as Ian just mentioned with his team. Feel like they should have had this one tonight.
There's a general feeling there because the running support was there. The run support was all throughout the line. Spencer Torkelson was having the best game of his life. You can argue. And it's just opening night. Blake trying and finding redemption at the end, but the Dodgers, they pulled through with the home runs. You can say the Tigers, they were, in a way, the better team in this game, but you cannot just leave runners stranded on bases when you're in scoring position. I'm sorry, but you can't just do that when you're in a situation where you can pull up in front at any point.
Yep. You're right. Runners are first and second and third. The grand total is this. Avert your eyes. You might need a Q-tip. 0 for 15 runners in scoring position. 11 men left on base. That's the story of the game there for the Tigers. They could not come through when it mattered. At least we saw Shohei Ohtani, 2 for 4, and he went yard. He's got a 4.17 average on the young year. But I will take the positive alongside for Tommy Edman and Ohtani. They've come through. Torkelson didn't have a bad outing. It was 6 hits, 4 and on 5 innings. Blake Snell does get the win. But I will take the positive as far as Spencer Torkelson. 1 tank, 4 walks. Manuel Margot, 2 out of 3 and a sac fly. He looked pretty good. And I think the Tigers do have some stuff to build on because when you go 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position, you literally can't do worse.
Not to shout for the Tigers. It's only up from here.
Sure.
Just got to improve with the runners in scoring position. Perhaps in game 2, that would be a better showing for the runners in scoring position of this series.
And before I let you go, because I know it's been a long night, I appreciate you joining me on this broadcast. But any idea what you think Jack Flaherty might do tomorrow against his former team?
This is a wild card to me because I don't know what to expect from Jack Flaherty. At times, when he looks at his best and delivers lights out performances. Other times, best not talk about them.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It could be hit and miss. This was a fun one. So I know, again, I'll be gone this weekend up to Muskegon because I got to cover the Sharks in the finals. But it's this weekend away, next weekend at home. So maybe games 1 and 2 in the best of 5, I'll be gone. We'll see what happens on Saturday and Sunday. I'll try to be in touch with you really quickly because I want to try to lock in any sort of baseball games or whatever we can do for the NHL before we get to the postseason push because I'm looking forward to that and I want to work with you more.
I'm looking forward to those as well. Have fun on your assignment, John.
All right, we'll talk soon, my friend. You have a good one.
You too.
All right, guys, that's your final. The Dodgers win. They take it 5-4. Tigers, a lot of runners in scoring position. That's the story of the game. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. Sometimes probably should have won that game, but you'll take the positives. Anytime Spencer Torkelson gets 4 walks in a tank, I really don't think you have much to complain about. We'll talk soon. Peace.